there's the white flag from Barney the Flagman. 1 lap to go at Long Beach. White flag is out, brought to you by Whiplash Simcams.
Yeah, can really hold him off. He looked like he's started to gap Cantonio just ever so slightly. Got about half of a second. It's been hovering right around there. Oh, Cantonio really pushing. He's sideways out of turn number 1. But Rayleigh just keeping that car pointed in the right direction. Nice and smooth, able to keep it going. It's going to be tough. Cantonio knows that there's not very many chances, even if he can get close enough to him to make a move. So we'll see as they come through 6 and 7, head toward turn 8 onto the backstretch.
Deeper in the field, nothing changing. Lap traffic ahead. It's Kevin Peak and Bradley Alvis right in front of our race leaders down East Seaside Way. And to turn number 9 for the final time. Lap traffic in the way, and Rayleigh goes for it on Peak. He sends it into turn 9. He knows he can't wait. He knows he can't give an opportunity to Kevin Cantonio. Cantonio's going to take it anyway. Ships it into the hairpin, and Rayleigh's going to get away. Thomas Rayleigh is going to be a race winner in the North American Racing League. A last lap bump and run wasn't enough. This man wins at Long Beach.
Wow, what a finish coming through that hairpin. I thought they were all going to wad it up. We had lap traffic in there, staying in there.
Zelazny might have a run here. He pulls up. 2 laps to go at Auto Club Speedway. What a run this has been. 5 cars out front just dancing around for the lead. Salas back to the bottom. Honeycutt stuck up top. Slide job out of Salas. Crossover out of Honeycutt.
23 should have a big run here. He does.
You see Salas starting to cover it up. He goes up the racetrack. Honeycutt's clear of them both. He shoves it up in front of the 23, gets himself loose. It'll be white flag this time by. Salas down low. Zelazny looking for a hole. Side by side, 3 wide, coffee in it. White flag is in the air. 1 lap to go. Brought to you by Whiplash Simcams. Who is going to win the Luke's Playhouse 200? Honeycutt controlling the race. Coffee in second. Tires are aging. Zelazny off the top rope. Got a little bit free. He's going to crash with lights. And yes, wall there. Who knows? Honeycutt, though, leading the race. Can Coffee get a run? He's going to send it. He hits him. Big bump and run. Coffee's going to try and get away. Can Salas get there? Coffee's going to crash. Salas is going to crash. Watch Nick Lights here to the stripe. Salas is going to do it with no front bumper.
Unbelievable.
Wow. Up until 2022, the Atlanta Motor Speedway provided endless, fantastic Atlanta finishes. It had that old, worn-out surface, the quad oval design. Something about this place was simply magical when the white flag came out and it was time to end the race. We'll look to recapture some of that magic this evening in the NORA Retro Cup Series, as we're, of course, emulating the 2005 NASCAR season 21 years later in 2026. Welcome to Pit Stop TV and to the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway in the virtual Hampton, Georgia. My name is Andrew Cardinale IV with Zach Murtis alongside, and it is a pleasure as always to join you for coverage of the NORA Retro Cup Series here in 2026, of course presented by Harpoon Designs. Tonight's race brought to you by Harpoon Design, by the NORA Retro Series, and of course by Whiplash SimCam. Zach, this is just stop number 4 on a 36 race schedule, so plenty of time still to figure out who is going to be in this season's chase, but we, of course, will take a look at the point standings here in just a moment. First up, this racetrack. You saw it there briefly with the misclick on the track map. It's coming right back up here in a second. It is the classic, well, I say classic, the mid-classic, if you will, Atlanta Motor Speedway. Of course, this place used to be a straight-up true oval with the start-finish line between what is now turns 2 and 3. That's why it had grandstands at the backstretch and did a turn 1 for so long. Of course, it was reconfigured in the late 90s, and we got the configuration that we have here this evening, scanned back around 2007, 2008 or so by iRacing, and still here for use on the sim. And I know this is just about everybody's favorite version of this racetrack.
Well, if you've spoken to the modern NASCAR fan lately, they'd be inclined to say that the new reconfiguration, that is, because the new, because it got reconfigured once and twice, the newest reconfiguration of Atlanta has been on the top of the boards lately, especially with the heated and spirited debates of Sunday night's NASCAR Cup Series race. But this definitely holds a special place in everyone's hearts. There is always the famous finish between Dale Earnhardt and Bobby Labonte, or Kevin Harvick and Jeff Gordon in 2001. There's always this special nuance that comes to the old pavement, the old style of racing here, and just using the old style car that did race here. So I think you're definitely hitting the nail on the head when you say that there is a special place in everyone's hearts for this track. But you know, everything has its place, and to each their own on each configuration style.
And there you see the specifications for the 2003 NASCAR Cup Series cars. Of course, these cars technically are from the final season of the NASCAR Winston Cup, but they were pretty much the same, very much untouched in 2004 and 2005. Small template changes, and so the car still applies here in what is the virtual 2005 season for the NORA Retro Cup Series. So all of this still rings true. The 110-inch wheelbase, of course, the Goodyear Eagle tires we've had for so long. The more classic suspension style, the larger fuel cell, 22 gallons, the big fuel cell. Granted, we're only using 77% of that here this evening. Big, heavy car with a bunch of power. That's what you need to know. So, going to be a lot of fun all season long. Yeah, that's the big, that's the essence of this whole thing. But let's get to point standings before practice wraps up here in another 90 seconds or so. Hunter Sr. on top of the standings with those 2 wins, and honestly, Zach,
2 unexpected wins.
I mean, Daytona is one thing, but to come back and have Jared Skinner win at California and then Hunter Sr. go back to victory lane last week at Las Vegas, just stellar fashion so far from the Morgan McClure camp. And I mean, frankly, that car in 2005, the number 4 car, didn't have Kodak on it. It had Lucas Oil. It was Mike Wallace driving the machine. It was white with some red decals, and that was about it. So they have brought a much brighter future to that number 4 camp, and the other 2 cars there, Kenneth Chaney and Jared Skinner as well. They're all doing well for themselves, all in the top 20. And I think really, as long as you're in the top 20 right now, you're where you need to be. If you're south of that, I think now is go time, and I mean, Vincent Arthur is maybe the best example of that. He has had a really, really rough time getting going here in 2026.
That he has. It has been a rough get-go. The things wrecked out at Daytona, ended up having connection issues at Vegas, connection issues at Vegas, wrecked out at Auto Club. It has just been abysmal for that 24 car, and one would hope that he's able to turn his season around tonight at a track that is very, very much a driver's track, but you got to take into account the fact that Hunter Sr. has still been on a tear. Jacob Gladulich is second in points. Dalton Tucker, Josh Conover. A lot of these guys have been consistent so far over these 3 races. Both the Durheims have been relatively consistent. The Chase doing a little bit better than Chance right now in the standings, but, you know, everything we're seeing so far is relatively respective of what we've seen so far out of these drivers.
Well, it definitely tells you how they've finished. It does not tell you how they've run, because Josh Conover, Dalton Tucker, they've been better than Hunter Sr. in terms of just straight up running speed. Chase Durheim as well. Even Ronnie Norman and Dustin Kleba. I mean, those, and even throw in Kenneth Chaney, maybe even Kevin Baumler, they've been better than the 4-car, I think. Certainly at California and Las Vegas, they just haven't been able to finish where they need to be. So they're still high in the standings. But this 105 points gap that Hunter Sr. has, hey, it's great that he has it. It's not entirely indicative of who truly has had the most speed here in these races, and we'll see on the power rankings here shortly, brought to you by Clark Contracting, that there's some other drivers that have been really, really good so far to start the season off. But we are about to go racing. Of course, qualifying happened last week before, around, and after the race at Las Vegas. So we are here at Atlanta with cars on the grid, and we can go ahead and meet your starting grid, brought to you by ATVL for this evening's Hampton 300. On pole, oh boy, that is a good front row, and the field needs to be on notice. Vincent Arthur, Josh Conover leading the field of the green. Of course, the 48 was so good here back in 05. Carl Edwards, of course, able to upset Jimmy Johnson for that win, but that's a really potent front row. Back in row number 2, it's Dalton Tucker alongside Ryan Housden. So from Hendrick to DEI, and a little more DEI here in row number 4. Brady Motes and Kevin Baumler. Back in row 4, you get your first couple of Fords. Those are Chase Durheim and Dustin Kleba. And to complete your top 10, how about Brian Jones in the 45 and Hunter Sr. with those 2 wins to start this season off.
Rolling outside the top 10, you'll find Ronnie Norman in the 7 and Kyle Tubb to his outside in that 12th position. Rolling off 13th tonight, you'll find Cody Anderson and then Brad Fulham behind him, or next to him, in the 14th position. 15th and 16th on the starting grid tonight, you will find in row number 8, Jared Skinner in that 04 car, and then Cody Smith to his outside in the 16th position. 17th and 18th on the grid tonight, row number 9 is Chance Durheim and Jacob Gladulich. Look for them to bounce back from a lackluster qualifying, I'll say. I expect them to be further up. And then right behind them, row number 10, you'll find Bruce Ackerman and Matthew George in the 84 and the 25.
And through the rest of your field, 16 more cars. Jake Christenberry in the number 11 alongside Craig Martin. Good starting spot, I'd say, for the 22 car. Christopher Heights in that number 2 will start from 23rd. Nick Geilis from 24th. A couple of Penske teammates there in row 12 ahead of John Border and Nick Ham. Then it's Donald Kite back in 27th, Cody Reeder in 28th, Nick Pressey in 29th, and Kyle Rochelle in 30th. The final 6, Noah Blackwell in that number 99. He made the switch over to this car, Zach. We needed the 99 here. We needed the Carl Edwards machine on the racetrack specifically for this race, and certainly for beyond, so it's good to see Blackwell starting that 99 here this evening. Wayne Sparks will start from 32nd, John Skavnicki 33rd, Kane Hoy 34th, LJ Hernandez and Kenneth Chaney the final row on the grid in 36 cars total. Vincent Arthur.
We're wrecking!
Whoa, no, are we? Nick Ham.
Turn 3.
Oh my goodness. The Cup Series field at least made it to lap 1 in 05. Tonight, they haven't even done that. And this is going to hit Penske hard. The 12 and the 2 both with damage. And, I mean, the 2 is junk. Christopher Heights already. No front bumper. I never thought we'd be taking a replay before the green flag, Zach.
Who'd have thought?
So what happens here? I think it happens ahead with the 12 car. Or no. The 19 of Reeder got into the 88 of Ham, and then Heights just happened to get into it. Race admins, if you're listening, if we could get an extra lap of pacing here to figure out what just happened, that'd be fantastic. So Reeder in the 19, that's the black and green car. Ham in the 88, that's the Dale Jarrett brown and white car. Reeder's ran him over. Wow.
I don't really know what to say there.
I know at least when we saw the 43 have his issue at Daytona, that was obviously a hardware issue, but this is the situation for Cody Reeder.
Oh my goodness.
He just ran through him.
Yeah. There's really no other way to say it at this point.
Well, we've got cars coming to the green. Let's see if we get one more lap. We'll hit some of the other graphics we have, but I don't think we are. Here we go. We're going to go green this time. So 195 laps. We'll get to Whiplash SimCam's race details in a moment. But for now, green flag on the way in a tumultuous pre-race. Let's see if we can get some laps in. Atlanta is green. Oh, Baumler loose off a 2. Another one down there. That's Porter in the 43.
Big save back there by the 43 car. Border to keep it in line, but they're still racing up in front. Conover has cleared on the top side, and car 48 started second, leading first, and leading the first lap of the race here at Atlanta.
Such a great view from the flag stand there, looking down at everybody flying underneath the flag stand to complete lap number 1, and here we go. Lap number 2, Dalton Tucker loose off of turn 2. We're going to see that a lot tonight. I think you need to be ready for all these guys to be bumping and jostling around off every single corner. But here we go for the race lead. Conover battling now with the 24.
This is just nostalgia at its finest. You've got Hendrick Motorsports fighting for the first 2 spots and DEI fighting for the second 2 spots, really, 3rd and 4th.
Arthur side by side with Conover down the backstretch. There they are. Arthur working the bottom, Conover working the top. Teammates here at Hendrick Motorsports. Of course, they have their own races that they're racing for. They don't want to give an inch.
And only lap 3, we're 3 wide behind them. Just keep her clean, boys. Keep her clean. Keep her steady as Arthur goes quickest.
Here's those top 2 again. Conover still working the top, Arthur working the bottom. There better not be any Eeyore here this evening. Josh Conover pulls ahead on lap 4 to turn number 3. Beautiful stuff so far between these 2 teammates at the front of the field. And they're driving away still. I think with Durheim getting clear for 3rd, that may start to change. But what a start for the 48 and 24 here at Atlanta. Driving away while side-by-side battling for the lead.
Gotta love it. Got
Whoa.
to love it. That's what. Single file now for the top 2 spots. We got spinner, turn 2. Craig Martin's going around multiple cars to the inside wall. And that is some heavy damage from multiple cars this early in the race.
Of course, it was lap 1 where there was a big pileup on the back straightaway here in 2005. That involved guys like Jeff Burton, Bobby Labonte, and so many more. It started off with an incident for Casey Mears in the 41 car. Tonight, it seems it might be the 0 and 88. Of course, Ham had that damage from the pace laps. He's in the 88 up top. The 0 down low. It seems to start with these 2. No, it was ahead. Martin in the 22. Rochelle in the 12. And oh man, Kane Hoy down on the inside. Blindsided.
Hoy pit for repair flag at the moment per race control. Pressey has automatically taken that car and removed it from the race. He is no longer in the session. He is done and done. Craig Martin has some considerable damage, but everybody else seems to be okay per race control. Christopher Heights also out of the race, but never saw the green flag.
Hate that for Craig Martin, minding his own business, and Rochelle just... I mean, I hate to say that he dumped him, but he dumped him, Zach.
On board with Rochelle. See Martin pushing up the racetrack just a tad. I mean, Rochelle gets some really good rotation and just never backs out of the run.
And you got to. I mean, you can't run guys over just to keep you run. You've got to be a little more careful there. I hate that for Craig.
From the top down. Yeah. I feel like Rochelle thought he was going to roll to the top side of the 22 and misjudged it, but
certainly not intentional. Certainly not intentional. That's important to clarify, but that doesn't mean that there isn't something to be adjusted there for Rochelle in the 12 next time that happens. And here's Kane Hoy's perspective, trying to get low. And boom.
Woo!
I mean, not a whole lot he could have done once he committed down there on the bottom.
That was almost a Murtis Esports Murtis mega miss, but, well, he missed one, didn't miss a second one. Reminds me of Jeff Gordon in 2015 at Atlanta, but, you know, I don't want to be speaking on the 24 record out at Atlanta when he's running second at the moment.
Yeah, you know, Vincent Arthur, I think, is a good driver to bring up. He's finally made it into the top 24 here in the standings, of course, chasing the top 10 to get a chase berth. But let's take a look for the first time tonight at our Clark Contracting Power Rankings, and you won't see the 24 on this graphic because he's had that poor of a start to this season. Hunter Sr., though, on top, reaching new heights. Zach, I think that might be the highest value I've ever had to type into this graphic. 85.8. I think that's the best we've ever had. The 4 car's got it going for him. I mean, he's running
2 for 3.
He's 6th right now, even. Props to him.
I mean, he's had a strong average finish throughout the course of 3 races. I mean, the man's put up impressive numbers, and I mean, he wasn't even talked about in contention for Vegas. We kind of wrote him off
At one point or
didn't
another,
expect to see it. I brought up the suggestion at the end of the race, what would happen if we saw Hunter Sr. win? You said, fat chance. Well, here we are.
I want to draw your attention, though, to 4th through 7th on this graphic. Conover, Baumler, Kite, Tucker, all separated by just a half point. They are that close right now in the middle of this field. And well, this is just the top 10, but the rest of the field is pretty close, too. So that shows you just how close things truly are in this series. But here we go. Green flag on the way. And in the restart zone, the one lap car down low of Cody Reeder. We go green. Let's try this again here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. You know, I don't know what we've talked about it yet, Zach. The idea that 2005 is already considered retro. Does that not just
21 years out of the mix, man?
Does that not just turn your stomach, though? To think 05 is retro? I mean, I remember 2005. Bits and pieces, sure, but I remember 2005. I mean, that's just weird. I don't like. I mean, to put it to you this way, I turned 26 Saturday, so I don't know. I don't like imagining that my childhood that I can remember is retro when I turn 26 later this week. That's a little unsettling. I feel old. I know I'm
in April.
Sure. I know I'm approaching 30. I feel old, but I'm not. I know that I'm not yet. I know I've got a lot, you know, hopefully left. So to consider part of my lifetime retro just feels really, really weird. But regardless, here we are.
A cool way to say it, from what I've heard, is don't say you're old. Say your prefrontal cortex is fully developed now.
I'm aged. Well, Cody Reeder on the bottom side trying to hang on to these spots. Well, not really spots. He's, of course, the one lapped car running currently. 3 are out of the race. Those are Martin, Hoy, and Pressey. And what we have not done a lot of yet is take too many onboards. Let's see if we can do that here with the 99 car of Noah Blackwell. He is racing right now with Dalton Tucker and Brady Motes. Motes has dropped like a rock, Tucker as well, because these guys all pitted back here, and it's surprising to me they have not made any progress on the drivers who have not taken tires yet. I mean, I went back and I watched some of the broadcasts from NASCAR on Fox earlier from the 2005 race here. And Larry Mack, of course, was preaching tires, tires, tires. If there's a caution, tires. Zach, they haven't passed a soul. Motes has got tires. Tucker's got tires. Baumler's got tires. Durheim, Smith, Ackerman, Skavnicki all have tires. Yet every car ahead of Brady Motes has stayed out under that previous caution, still has the old tires on their cars. I'm not seeing it right now. And you know what? Even that down in the middle, going 3 wide, Blackwell did not take tires in his pit stop.
Gladulus with a big wiggle off of turn number 2. Keeps a hang on it. We stay green. We stay rolling. However, I mean, I want to, like, I want to say the thing that's on my mind right now, but it's kind of controversial.
Unless it's not family friendly.
You should not be taking tires right now. No way, shape, or form. If it's lap 10 and you've been riding around, why the heck are you going to waste a set? I know they have 11 sets, Andrew, but why would you waste a set of tires? In my honest opinion, when it comes to tires, crew chiefs, drivers alike should be thinking about how can we preserve our tires? How can we save them? And not just save them on the racetrack, save a set in the box. I am always going to preach 100%. My strategy will be built off of saving one set of tires at least. And I feel like people not taking tires and only topping off on gas is a beautiful strategy call to make. But you and I differ on strategy a lot, so I'm going to let you have your opinion on this one. And I'm going to sit back and be the casual second-hand driver analyst you know and love me for.
I don't know. I agree.
Wow, that's a first.
I agree. I think we've seen in the opening couple of intermediate races this season, yeah, tires are important after, about 20 laps, but I don't think I would have burned a set just yet. I mean, if you're in the back, maybe throw a set on, especially if you were sliding around at all, maybe because you're back there and you want to try and get some spots, but I don't know. As here we go for a pass for second. Chase Durheim gets on by the 24, Vincent Arthur, so we have now split up those Hendrick teammates at the front. That's good to see for the rest of the field. Not so good for them, obviously, but look at that. Hunter Sr. in 4th, Dustin Kleba 5th as the top 5 get spaced out. No, I think I agree, Zach. I think tires probably didn't need to be taken on that caution. The caution came out now. Yeah, I'd say go ahead and grab a set. I don't think there's any harm in that. And certainly any point beyond now, I think may as well go ahead and grab one, at least this early. If we get a bunch of runs like this, no, you got to try and link a couple together and save sets at some point. You can't pit every single caution, but we'll see how the night goes. We have not yet gotten to this graphic. Whiplash SimCam's race details. 195 laps, as you see on the ticker. 300.3 miles. They couldn't have done that any better. 77% fuel out there, 10 change sets. Of course, that means we have 11 sets total. The set they started the race on, and 10 more. The rest is what we know and love. Fixed setups, single file restarts, unlimited green-white checkers, and no fast fixes.
Look at this, Andrew. Not to take away from the graphic, even though you did just finish it up. We saw the top 3, each running 3 different lines into turns 1 and 2. That is what we miss and love about Atlanta. Multi-groove racing, as we've got Spinner down the back straightaway. It's a 28 car. Yeah. Oh, that's a big impact right there. Debris on the apron. He is parked and trying to roll. The Polish driver getting that car in gear. Grab first and haul booty. That car is crab walking a little bit, or he might just be spinning the tires a little bit to get it rolling.
I think it was just wheel spin, but here's a look at it, racing with the 11 of Christenberry. Guileless up top in the number 28, off the corner. Christenberry just hit him. Just made a mistake there, and honestly, Zach, I know it looks bad because the bumper's gone. I don't like that hit the end, but yeah, that was all kind of glancing blows until that very last impact. Obviously, you don't want to have this incident and not have a caution. I mean, you don't want it at all, but that's not going to do too much damage. The 4 wheels should be straight. That's the most important part. Next most important, obviously, is aero. Even that isn't awful. I mean,
the nose is punched in like a W. The rear bumper is gone. Usually when the rear bumper is gone, it strongly affects the rear downforce in a way that spins the car out. We've seen it time and time again. There's the contact. There's the spin. Honestly, it could have been far worse.
That's what I'm saying. It could have been a lot worse. He could have hit a lot harder and done a lot more damage to the car. So obviously it's still an issue and sets him back, but man, could have been far more problematic there for the 28. As here we go, race lead. Conover Durheim I am still high on the 16. I know it was kind of an off week for him at Vegas last time around, but he was still pretty good, showed some strength, and he's looking really good today.
As it was said over the driver radio not too long ago, here comes Chase Durheim. He has worked himself up into the second spot. He passed up Vincent Arthur, and now he's chasing down the race leader of Josh Conover. And realistically, through the field of our top 10 has been changing hands quite a bit. You've got Chase Durheim up into the second spot. You've got Hunter Sr. He's moved up 2 spots into the 4th position. In fact, he is under fire at the moment from Kleva on the outside of the 4 car as the fight for the lead heats up. You've got Jones in the 45, who is running, as you say, respective of his I rating in that 6th position. Housden, Taub, Skinner, that 04 with Morgan McClure Motorsports up there in the top 10 as well, and then Cody Anderson in the 33. It's a pretty stacked top 10, almost 30 laps into the run.
For the race lead, Durheim in the wall.
Oh, in the wall!
I was trying to get to a faster misclicked, and, well, I think we'll be taking a replay to see what just happened there for the race lead between the 16 and 48. Not ideal, and let's see what happened. This is a setup down to turn 1. First up between the 16 and 48. Durheim just throws the car low. Classic slide job move. Conover lets him take it and watches him hit the wall and drives back away. I mean, that's heads up racing.
Well, from what I'm hearing, the right front's cooked on that 16. Conover gave him an A for effort, I'll tell you, but if you're Chase Durheim, you're starting to burn your stuff up a little bit too much.
Well, check this
at
out.
This point.
Leno's the
Big
48.
send.
16 comes across and in the wall. See you later.
You know, you talked about the famous finish here between Jimmy Johnson and Carl Edwards. There's another famous finish that a lot of people tend to remember when it comes to Jimmy Johnson and Carl Edwards. You know what I'm thinking about?
Kansas.
Yep. Literally, bar for bar on that one. Edwards threw it into the corner, slid up, hit the wall. Jimmy Johnson slid right back on by. It looked exactly like that.
Pretty similar, yeah. I think the only difference is Jimmy, I think, cut back low at Kansas that year, and in that move we just saw from Durheim, Conover just kind of kept it up near the wall, gave him just enough room to pass the 16, and kept on cooking. So clearly Conover is liking that top lane so far, and I think Arthur is kind of in between in the 24. And it does seem like Durheim likes the top, but when he threw it down low, it just didn't quite stick down there the way he needed it to. And I'm not really sure about these two yet. We haven't seen much of the 9 and 4 just yet. We've been watching the top 3 a lot. But they seem to be running low.
Shot. Skinner and Anderson, they're fighting. Housden and Taub, they're fighting. Or, excuse me, it's just Housden and Taub. But Skinner's not too far behind him. Taub had cleared the 15, moving forward, but now you see that 15 car, that DEI, number 15.
Oh, Tubb, go by him.
Front, big loose.
Big slide there out of Housden. Tubb's going to work on the outside.
Fighting tooth and nail for every single position on the racetrack, and we still have over 160 laps to go. Skinner is just licking his chops, saying, you guys keep burning your stuff off. I'm going to sit right back here, catch a draft off the two of you, save a little gas, and then pass you when your tires wear. Down back to the top line, Skinner down to the bottom. Multi-groove racing at its finest, ladies and gentlemen.
And this is the onboard of Jared Skinner watching these guys battle off into turn 3. Tubb takes the top, Hausen takes the bottom. And that's the look from the fan cam. I do enjoy the fan cam here for one big reason. This version of the track, Zach, still has that big set of grandstands down in turn 3. And I think that's a really cool, unique perspective right here. You don't see this at many racetracks anymore.
Is it me being oblivious, or me just not paying attention, even though they're kind of one and the same? But I kind of forgot that Atlanta didn't have a turn 3 grandstand anymore.
I miss it. I mean, this view down the backstretch here in a second from Tubbs' perspective, this is a classic view for me on iRacing. Firing down this backstretch, just trying to hang on to the rear of the race car, and there's that big menacing grandstand down there in turn 3. It makes this corner feel so much more congested. I don't like the new one, not having that grandstand off to the right. I don't like it, but
Well, maybe,
course,
just maybe.
they have their reasons.
With how well, yeah, but with how Atlanta has been generating quite the buzz in the NASCAR community as of late with the new reconfiguration and just how good it's been for the racing product, maybe with the amount of money they're raking in, they'll consider putting up a new grandstand again.
I suppose we can hope. Top 5 nice and spread out over the course of about 2 seconds. It's about 5 1/4 seconds between the entire top 10 right now. Pit stops are looming. I don't know exactly when because they had that caution to save some, Zach, but you know, let's see. Last week at Las Vegas was what, 38 to 40-ish, and we've actually got Christenberry slow in the 11. He's hitting the pits. This is a little bit early for Jake, I feel like, but this does kind of kick off the pit window, I think.
More than likely should, as the 11 car has hit the pit lane here. Right sides are up. I see 4 tires in the future for that 11, and you don't need to be psychic for that one. As the leaders are clicking on by, you can see them just out of the top left of your camera. Out and away goes Christenberry. He's lost only a lap, which is normal for here in Atlanta. He's going to roll on out and catch the field and, well, start to cycle through the green flag positions to get his lap back. We'll see those leaders hit the pit lane soon. I think we're seeing relative pace over the long run out of Vincent Arthur. I'll tell you, these long run pace drivers are starting to come to life. Arthur has reeled in Conover as Christenberry has hit the bloodline. He's back onto the racetrack.
That's the tricky part of pitting here. Entering and exiting. The run into and out of the pit lane is the hardest part here at Atlanta. Battle, though, here for the race lead, and Arthur just kind of takes it right on away.
He got it! They're sideways! Hanging on to it, the 24 and the 48, duking it out like days of old. And for the first time today, Andrew, we're going to have another leader leading laps as Conover decides it's time to hit to the pit lane. He's going to take the advantage now and undercut his teammate in that 24 car. I think that's a smart move. I think the second you lose that position is the time that you need to consider getting that 48 car to the pit lane.
I wholeheartedly agree. And so he's going to take this long trek down the pits. One more comes in. That's a guyless in the 28. I think trying to get back on sequence with these guys despite being about 7 laps down. And there you see Conover in the pit lane.
It's got to be Freaky Friday or like Tricky Tuesday or something like that.
Early trip off the banking there for Durheim. He's going to follow Arthur now to the pit lane. Let's see if we have any more takers here on lap 38. This is still kind of early for these guys. I'm surprised they're pitting this early. But I think really it was kicked off by Conover wanting to undercut the 24. Oh, Arthur!
Whoa.
Did he miss his box? He did!
I was about to say!
Wow.
That is another blow for the 24 car.
Well, you know what, Zach? These guys are running a lot of trading.
Wreck! Brady Moats back straight away!
We'll check that out
Turn
1 second.
3.
We'll check that out in 1 second. I want to point this out, though, for the 24. These guys are running a lot of trading paint schemes. He might be looking for his own personal pit sign, and he actually had the last box, so he should have known where it was. I mean, he just sailed right by it. He got lost. He might have been looking for his own personal sign, but it wasn't there. As here's the incident for the 8 car and the 99, actually. There's Brady Moats. Let's go back and see how it started. They were passing Conover, who had just left the pit lane there on the inside. Moats comes up. A little bit loose, and oh, Blackwell just ran him down, and it's a big hit for both of those guys. Moats more so than Blackwell, but that's still a big hit.
And then
the worst part of that is there's no caution.
There's so much going on all over the racetrack. Cody Anderson has gotten a black flag. I believe it's for speeding on pit entry. He is still in his pit box. Tubb missed his box, so the 32 is just leaving the pit lane. As we take another look here at the replay, it's just a big impact for the 8 and the 99.
I mean, again, it's a case of you can't hit the guy. You can't jack these cars up. You will wreck them.
Don't push the pusher?
No, not even that. I mean, you cannot run into a guy in these cars. You will jack up the rear of the car. I think we've been spoiled. Oh, this is not going to end well. I think Tucker's trying to pit. No, okay. That was just the closing rate of old tires versus new. But, you know, back to the 99 car, and even another couple of the incidents we've seen tonight, you just can't run guys over in these cars. The bumpers are mismatched. I think we've been spoiled in more recent years by having the COT, the Gen 6, and even now the Gen 7, where the bumpers all kind of line up.
Just, oh my goodness. See, Gladulich coming out of the pit lane.
He didn't even stop.
Actually, no, hold on a second. Gladulich was just right up there with the 38 of Skavnicki and the 21 of Kite. Did something just happen? Because he's still slow down the back straightaway.
Yeah, he did not even stop. He didn't pit or anything. This is the issue here for Gladulich. Racing with Skavnicki here off of 4. Kite to the bottom. And number 20. Watch that orange Chevrolet down here to turn 1. He's just going to pull off.
Catch the apron. Oh, he does just pull off. I wonder what happened there to Gladulich.
He's now in the pit lane, has made his stop. You see Guileless back in the pits, not moving. A handful of cars should be headed in now. There is the number 38 of Skavnicki. He's one of them. These are guys that pitted under that previous caution that are now starting to run out of fuel themselves, including these guys, Cheney, Ackerman, and some more. But beginning with the DEI cars of Tucker and Baumler. They go a little bit longer. Chance Durheim as well, going a bit longer. He did pit under that previous yellow. And then Donald Kite as well here at the 21. Now, of the drivers that have pitted here under green, there is a clear advantage, and it goes to driver 48. Josh Conover has what will be the race lead if this cycles all the way out.
By nearly 2 seconds as well. 1.4 over Chase Durheim, as Tucker has taken his car to the pit lane. Here in the 88's coming this time. Lots of call-outs from lots of drivers right now, just watching our race control pylon to make sure nobody's getting black flags. Right now, the only black flag that has been given is to the 33 car of Anderson. He had to serve it in the pit lane in his box as Tucker makes it to his. Right side's up. Left side should go up in just a moment here, as he's going to lose a lot of time now that I think about it. Staying out, running long, they're going to lose so much time to these other drivers. I mean, Conover's already well on past. He's more than 10 seconds clear of Tucker already.
As this pit cycle wraps up, I want to say a big shout out to Ryan Daniels out there watching in the YouTube chat this evening. Haven't said that name in quite some time. I guess it's a night for some retro moments, I suppose, here at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Nearly 50 laps into this 300-mile race. Cheney and Fulham still lead. They are pitting. Here comes Cheney. Here comes Fulham. Right to the pit entry line there in turn number 4. Cheney with the early box, gets into it nicely, and Conover will come racing by here in just a moment in the number 48 and take the race lead back away. Chase Durheim, that second place, that's the white, red, and blue, number 16 in the background. And Dustin Kleba runs in second, Brian Jones up to 4th, Vincent Arthur. Oh, that's right, Zach. I was having to rack my brain for what happened to him. He missed his box. He is now 21 seconds behind the race leader, Josh Conover.
Oh.
But only 21 seconds?
He didn't lose that much. I thought he was going to lose a lot more, actually. I thought he was 2 down. I had to go look through the scoring pylon to see where he was at, and it showed him 1 lap down, sitting around mid-20s, so I mean, hey, it could have been far worse just for missing your box and driving straight through pit road, but he kept it rolling. He got it back up through the gears well and nice. He's still rolling. He's still clean. He is still green. And we've still got 146 laps to go. There's plenty of time to go get it back.
Meanwhile, battle for 12th, Tucker and Tubb. Tucker's starting to drive through some of these guys, get on by, and begin his progression back towards the front. I'm surprised Tubbs back here at 13th. He was in the top 10 before that round of stops. So I'm surprised he's this far back, but we'll keep monitoring all of this. And Jake Christenberry, props to him. He took that early stop, Zach. He is now up into the 8th position after starting 21st. I mean, it's way too early. We're at least 100 laps away from driver of the day, but he's at least on the radar right now.
I think a strategy call worked in his favor to get track position, but long-term gain is going to be near and far between if he can't save the tires properly. He's at about a 5 to 6 lap disadvantage compared to everybody else. Wayne Sparks gets to the inside of that 11 car. That number 5 Kellogg Racing Machine out of Hendrick Motorsports is trying to work himself back up after what was a phenomenal performance last week at Vegas and ended up resulting in him DNFing from the race. So I think Sparks is looking to rebound and gain some solid points here tonight. He's doing just that, gets in front of the 11 and moves up into the 8th spot.
Smith now going to come on by. That's the number 42 that is so high in the power rankings. We could easily highlight, any of these guys right here. I think Christenberry kind of an underdog right now as Smith gets tight, pulls up ahead of the 04 car there. But Cody Smith has been a lot of fun to watch this season. A lot of great finishes. A little bit off the mark right now. Started 16th, just on the cusp of the top 10 as Tucker is likely going to poke on by. But still, a good start at least to the evening for Cody Smith. Has some work to do, clearly ahead of him, but as he races with his rival, if you will, of the three of Dalton Tucker, they of course had that moment back at Daytona and have kind of had some mild beef since.
Well, we're still moving. We're still solid. We're still green. I keep saying we're still green. I really need to knock on wood on that one, just in case. But we have been green since that first caution. We've had a few wrecks. Didn't result in a caution. All those were off the racing surface. So things continue to move in the right direction, I'll say. There are some drivers that do definitely have some work to do. We've already looked at a few of them. One including Vincent Arthur. We've seen just how good he can be on the long run. I think long run pace is just going to be a testament to these drivers throughout this run. You see
Big move
Tucker
there
moving
for
on
Tucker.
by.
He was a little slow to get going here this evening. I think just saving his stuff earlier. But he is starting to sail on through this field. Now that we're in a long run formation, I think he's starting to let the laps fly. You know, the last handful of laps, he has been just about the quickest on the racetrack, if not the quickest. He did pit later than most of the field, but let's go ahead and fire up maybe the lap time comparison. Give me a moment to do so. I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about. He is ripping off some big time lap times here. So here you go. Josh Conover, Chase Durheim. They are your top two. Durheim now under fire from Kleba. Arthur is back in the 20th spot, but Tucker is here in 8th. And you can see how their lap times compare. Tucker is a half second or more faster than each of them right now. Now he is 8 seconds back of the race leader, but honestly, Zach, for having been much further back earlier, you know, when we went green, I'm impressed.
Here goes another move to the inside right here on Norman. He's got the pace, Andrew. I mean, Tucker was one of the drivers we had in the conversation last week at Vegas. As Kleba's moved up into the 2nd spot, that number 9 car taking a good, nice, healthy advantage over the 16 of Chase Durheim. Now, I know we don't have throttle inputs, but we do have RPM inputs, and one thing that I've noticed in these Gen 4 cars is that a lot of times later in the runs, these guys will be off the throttle on the front straightaway in the quad oval to save their tires because it just snaps around up here. Well, he's a little more full throttle right there. Kleba is definitely hammer down front straightaway, but later in the run, they tend to get looser. They tend to be a little bit harder to control. My experience, at least in these cars at this racetrack, has been ease off the throttle on the quad oval just a tad. Maybe like 80 to 70% throttle input.
I have a thought on that, Zach. Were those observations of yours in 100% fuel races?
Yes.
These guys are running 77%. I mean, they're not going to be running these tires as long. I think if they can hang on to the race car, they can be a little more aggressive on the tires. They can stay full throttle. It's just a thought. It's just an idea right now, but something to keep in mind maybe as these guys progress through this second larger fuel run. Already some of these guys up over 20 laps, and certainly more than halfway through this fuel run, it feels like we just pitted. Ooh, and look at this battle. Cheney and Arthur, a couple of very strong drivers so far this season. They're battling for 19th and 20th. And, you know, we talked about it a little bit at Vegas last week, Zach. Guys that get stuck back there in traffic. It just seems like they can't get through the field. I think Tucker is disproving that a little bit tonight here, Zach. But otherwise, I think we're seeing it with these two. They're stuck back here. We know they're both really, really good, but they're not really advancing like we would think.
Yeah, I think you're right about that, honestly. I think we expected them to be moving up a lot more, advancing a lot more.
Now, to Vincent Arthur's credit, he's not really losing much time, if any. Well, he's just lost connection, I think. It's in between.
It's getting dicey.
We need to sign a petition. We need to figure out who Vincent's ISP is, the internet service provider, and send them a strongly worded email. We need the 24 car on track here in this series. We can't keep having these disconnects.
Oh boy. I can tell you my ISP is not exactly in the realm of the greatest at the moment, but it's been okay in recent weeks. We'll have to wait and see how that goes. Gonna knock on wood for that one too. But the race continues on either way. This is right on the edge of the top 10, actually. That's Smith in the 42 in the 10th position, and then right behind him in the 11th position is Skinner. Jared Skinner has been trying to work himself back up inside the top 10. He was up there earlier, trying to do it again. The Morgan McClure Motorsport cars are actually having quite a good day, to be perfectly honest, Andrew. The 04 and the 4 running right now inside the top 10, at least trying to have both of them inside the top 10. They were at one point, and they're still running really great.
Yeah, again, showing how good they are. It's very impressive between the 4 and the 04. And even the 14, we know he's good, just not a great start to the evening for Cheney. He is back still in that 19th spot as we watch this battle here for 9th position. There's a great one ahead as well. Housden and Tucker. Tucker continues to fly through this field. Housden going to give that spot up. And you know, Zach, I have mentioned a couple of times already this season that if you go back to 2005, the 15 wasn't always in the mix. This is a race where it was. So 2005, for context, for DEI, they had swapped teams between Dale Jr.'s team and Michael Waltrip's team between 04 and 05 after Dale Jr. lost the championship. And, you know, I think a lot of fans argue he definitely could have and maybe should have won that championship, but just a lot went wrong. Some of his own doing, some of his not. Regardless, they swapped teams. Tony Uri Jr. went over to crew chief the 15 for Waltrip, and that included the race-winning car from 2004 where Dale Earnhardt Jr. won here at Atlanta in 2004. So then Michael Waltrip had Dale Jr.'s car in the race in 05 and ran really good with it, at least to get the race going. Had a lot of great speed. It's interesting how much a car could mean back in those days. Now, of course, they're a little more plug-and-play, and I think a lot more onus is on the driver and the engine builders and even the aerodynamicists. But, you know, back in 05 still, a car meant everything. The chassis itself was still so important. It made that big of a difference. As here's the battle between 8th, 7th, and 9th. Well, 8th, 9th, and 10th, actually. Sparks, Norman, and Skinner. They've left Cody Smith behind, and Skinner's trying to go by on the inside of Norman.
Well, Sparks actually tapped the wall a little bit just a couple laps ago.
By the way, have you seen yet who's 4th?
Brian Jones?
Yeah. Where did this guy come from? I mean, this is finally a run that we should be seeing out of this guy. I've mentioned multiple times this season already, he's got the highest I rating in the field. Here he is, finally showing it. 5,800, nearly 6,000 I rating. This guy is finally putting it to good use. Not a great first 3 races. This is looking pretty good, though, for Brian Jones. This could be one of those days where he starts to set the season in motion the way he needs it to be. Who knows?
You never know. He's starting to turn in some really great runs. A little bit further back here, Norman fighting with Cody Smith. Good run down into turn number 1 for the 42. Gets clear of the 7. You've got Brady Moats right in front. He is currently 6 laps down in that number 8 car as Kristen Berry has taken.
Oh my goodness!
Gladulech, what the heck happened here?
It was 16 laps ago, apparently. How did we not notice this?
And 42 heading to the pit lane as well.
Give me just a moment here to get back to this. Here is Jacob Gladulech. This is just behind Josh Conover some time ago. You can tell he's on fresh tires as he goes straight by the 48. And oh my goodness! Our race leader! Wow!
Oh my goodness.
Oh my gosh. He's done.
That's different.
This is like 16 laps ago at this point. Middle of this run now, and one more look at it. He slides up a little bit slower off the corner, got loose, and Conover got him in the back. And that's another incident tonight, Zach, of somebody just running in the back of somebody in front of them. You can't do it in these cars.
You hate to see it. You hate to see it for Gladulech. He was running really, really well.
I wonder if, and we looking at the nose of these race cars, I thought the nose of these cars back in 03, I suppose, were shorter than the noses we have on the cars today in 2026. But I wonder, are they longer? Is that why these guys are getting caught out? As there's the pit stop for our race leader Conover. He's going to come on in. It's like these guys don't know where the bumper is. They just keep running people over. Chase Durheim also pits, so Josh Conover, Chase Durheim in here as we begin lap 76. Dustin Kleba continues on. I'd imagine he comes in, if not this time, probably in the next 5. Maybe even 4. Conover hitting the racetrack again. Here he goes, back up through the gears. Again, this is so tricky, especially here at Atlanta. They do you a little bit of courtesy, giving you a little bit of banking here on the apron, but it does not do a whole lot, Zach.
It does not. That banking it's helpful, I'll say, for what it's worth, but compared to the rest of the racetrack, it is far beyond what it's needed, what it could be. Just keep on rolling on.
I feel like it's somewhat deceptive because you feel the car hop up onto the banking there and tilt, and you feel like you can gun it and give it some beans, but you just can't. You've got to wait. It's
give it
yeah.
some beans.
Have you never heard that?
No.
Come on, man. You've driven a real race car. You've never given it some beans.
I've never given it some beans. I've said some choice words inside my race car, but I've never said I'm gonna give it some beans.
It's kind of like too much mustard. As
I don't
Hunter Senior,
mustard.
Well, Hunter Senior in the pit lane. There you see Vincent Arthur and Noah Blackwell behind them. Also Ryan Housden in the pits. And there is the 24 of Arthur right into his box.
Didn't miss it this time.
Oh, here we go. Battle for second currently. Jones and Tucker. This is an interesting fight. I think Tucker has been really, really good. One of the best this season in terms of outright pace. But Jones, of course, has the I rating, and Tucker keeps on going.
Yes.
Jones will pitch.
He did it. He did exactly what I expected him to do. I had it on my mind. I'm like, wouldn't it just be phenomenal if he pitted right underneath the 3, and just then and there he did it? It's like my mind worked it into existence, but that's just me being quirky. But
Or it's like you ran out of gas and needed to get some more.
it's possible. However, I like to go with the fact that I'm psychic, but it prevents Tucker from entering the pit lane because he's stuck up on that middle line and he's still going right now. He's running along like he did the last time. Conover goes by him once again, and we'll see that 3 car run it back into the pit lane here very, very shortly. That's Conover getting his lap back.
I definitely think
I don't know
if
how
you're
well that worked out for Tucker.
if you're a Tucker, I don't think you need to be concerned. I think you got enough pace. I think if you're Baumler 8 seconds back of Tucker, maybe you consider getting back on sequence with these guys at some point. But these guys are clearly on an alternate strategy. They're offset by about 5-8 laps or so. I think keep doing what you're doing. You're going to have the tire advantage here in a moment once you get back on the racetrack. You've got to run your race. I know in a small sample size like this, it looks like you are losing time. I think over the long run, the 3 at least is gaining. I'm not sure about the 81, but he's also married to his strategy along with a handful of guys. Skavnicki now comes in, but Tucker, Baumler, Cheney, Durheim, Kite, Fulham, and Ham are all tied to the strat. They are your top 7 currently as Chase Durheim looks to pass the 3 car on the outside here. Chase Durheim is now about 2 seconds behind Josh Conover. Dustin Kleba about 2 seconds behind Chase Durheim as Kleba runs fastest that lap. I think this is just older racing, Zach. I'm going to be honest. I think your kind of affinity towards you got to pit as soon as other guys do is kind of the new way of racing. I think this is kind of an old snapshot of what it used to be. You just run your race, run your strategy, and trust the process.
Ooh. Brady Moats, black flag. Looks like
Continues to get worse.
Taking care of the black flag, but I think that 8 car might have been speeding in the pit lane, something along those lines. But race control has since cleared the flag, but speeding in the pit lane for the 8 car. So regardless, he will be heading back down. I just hate to see it for Brady. He's been having such a rough day ever since he got turned off of turn number 2, and
A rough season.
that 8 car has definitely seen better days. But he is rolling a drive-through at the moment for speeding. Oh, he's serving a stop and go.
I think he's actually trying to get his service. Yeah, he hadn't stopped yet.
I thought we saw him coming out of the pit lane just now.
Well, that's how he got the penalty. I don't know, Zach. We've seen crazier things. Here's Kevin Baumler into the pit lane. He's finally going to pit. Kenneth Cheney will continue. You see Cody Reeder pitting there in the 19. Here is Donald Kite coming in. Brad Fulham will continue. And he will take over the 2nd position for now. Josh Conover is up to 5th. Make it now 4th. Make it now 3rd. One thing we have not yet taken a look at, Zach, is the season schedule. Of course, racing here at Atlanta Motor Speedway tonight. A whole lot of fun. I really do like this place. I think many do, as I just heard an engine go crunch somewhere in the pit lane. But let's take a look at the season schedule. And here you have it. Race 4 this evening, 195 laps. Next week, look at the next 2. Oh, you and I, we're going to be at heaven, Bristol and Martinsville. Now, I do hope they mind their P's and Q's, because those races obviously can get out of hand. But you and I, we're resident short track fans. I think we're going to enjoy ourselves the next couple of weeks. Then we go racing at Texas. That'll be fun, too. These cars at Old Texas should be a blast. Same with Phoenix there. And then we get back to some plate racing at Talladega Superspeedway. Darlington, I'm very much looking forward to that. I'm a sucker for Darlington and Richmond. I know you'll enjoy Charlotte. That should be fun. I'm excited to see how Dover goes. We were just at Dover yesterday with the All-American Racing Network. Pocono, I mean, there's not a bad race on this schedule. I'm excited for all of them. They all have their own nuance, and that's what I like about these cars, this age of NASCAR. Each race feels necessary. Each race feels like it has its own identity. It's not just a carbon copy of the previous week when you're going to back-to-back intermediates or something like that. So I really enjoy that we have got this kind of variety throughout the season, and we're, I think, racing racetracks that make sense all season long in places that make sense. It feels right. Battle for second has kind of concluded already. Kleba has gone back by Durheim. Now Dustin's got a 5-lap tire advantage over Josh Conover. Durheim pitted with Conover. And we're getting a lot of lap traffic now, Zach, but this gap from Kleba up to Conover, five laps the difference in tires. And as now Dustin blinks a little bit there on the front stretch, that's the gap, 1.9 seconds.
I do have to wonder just how much Conover has been saving over the course of the race. Because me personally, I expected him to have a bigger lead than he does at the moment. With how long we have been running under the green flag. We have been green for over, 75 laps now? Closing in on 80 laps that we have been green. We're about to hit 100 laps to go. I mean, I certainly feel like Conover should have a bit of a bigger lead compared to how he has been running, but Kleba, Durheim, Jones, I feel like they've done a good job hanging tough with that 48 car.
Well, you see the gap bottom right, not really moving. The last couple of laps, you actually see the last lap, Kleba was about 0.3 slower. Well, 2.5 tenths. It is nice just kind of listening to these guys pick the throttle back up mid-corner, get back out of the corner. Dustin's going to gain there a little bit on that lap. Yeah, you see a 30.988 versus a 31.1. So Dustin found something that time around as he goes back to the top side here in 1 and 2. There are other battles in the racetrack. This is just the one for the race lead between... It's not really a battle yet, obviously, but Conover and Kleba. Conover lost a lot this lap. He's got that lap traffic of Kite and Cheney, and it's really hurting the 48. I mean, that last lap, look at the difference. That was big. Josh is rattled. Look at the gap now, Zach.
Closing it in. He's closed a lot. It's that offset strategy. You know,
it's the lap traffic.
I doubted it. The lap traffic as well, but I doubted how the offset strategy could work. And I mean, not even just for Dustin Kleba. Look at Tucker. Tucker is within 10 seconds and he's running 6th at the moment. I mean, I didn't really expect for this kind of a strategy to work out. Sparks is into the 7th spot. Smith is 8th. The guys who were running up towards the front, guys like Hunter Sr., he's flirting just staying inside the top 10 now. Skinner's fallen outside top 10 contention. Christenberry is 11th now. I know you've had him in contention for driver of the day with his offset strategy, but the guys who ran it long, guys like Tucker, they've benefited track position. It has worked.
Well, Dalton Tucker working back up to his teammate Ryan Housden here. Brian Jones, by the way, is still top 5. He runs in 4th. Hunter Sr., though, has dropped back. He's now in the battle for 8th position alongside the 42 of Cody Smith.
Boston!
Oh, it's them! It's exactly them!
Sr.
Wow.
Cody Smith! No!
I was just switching back to him to show the battle they were having. And this might be the first problem all season for the 4-car.
Well, we're only 4 races in. It was bound to happen at some point. All good things must come to an end, and, well, they are coming to an end tonight. They should both still be able to continue. Their senior down to the inside of Smith in the 42. Smith just gets loose, comes across the nose, and there she goes.
Look at the job Hunter Sr. did, though.
That could have been far worse than it was.
That's been the theme so far tonight, but specifically the job that Senior did to pull that car back away from the inside wall there, even after they were sliding down towards the watch list. So comes across the nose of the Ford, drags him down, but then Hunter releases off the brake right there, gets the wheels turning just enough to pitch it back to the right and keep it off the wall. If he had kept it locked down, Zach, he was destined to hit the inside wall just like Cody Smith. That was heads up from Hunter Sr. I don't see a lot of iRacers do that, to know to release the brake just for a moment to get the wheels to turn and get you away from the wall.
Nomination for Murtis Esports Murtis Mega Miss?
Well, I mean, he did crash. I don't know about that, but...
He didn't technically crash. He got hit, and he saved it.
Well, I suppose you make
Cody
the rules
Smith
about it, but
crashed.
here we go. Race off the pit lane. Well, all the wrong cameras. There we go. That's what I was trying to get to. The 48 car off the pits just gets out ahead of Dustin Kaliwa. And this whole run we just had of, 90 laps is now completely out the window.
Well, let's re-rack them, restack them for another 90 laps. Let's see how this benefits a lot of different drivers. There could be so many different things going on, and we've got a couple of drivers that actually do have some black flags. The 28 got a black flag. The 42 was given an EOL penalty. Let's see, it's just a 19 actually. Cody Reeder that got a black flag in the pit lane. Must have been for something. Don't know what for.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and call an audible, and we're going to pull driver number 5 here. His teammates have been out in front of us tonight. Well, I'm going to try to pull him. I don't see him in Discord. I want to pull Wayne Sparks. Am I missing something?
The heart wants what the heart wants.
He is not in the series Discord channel. How about that? Well, let's call another audible. Let's go for driver 99 here, who's headed actually back around the field. He's a little bit out of it, but obviously there was some attention surrounding the number 99 this evening. And of course, it was Carl Edwards who went to victory lane in this race back in 2005. But Noah, as you step into that 99 car, obviously the night has not gone quite to your hopes just yet. 27th, 5 laps down. Do you think you can get back in this thing if there's enough cautions?
Honestly, it's gonna be close if I do. We still got a lot of the race to go, so I'm hoping that I can get these laps back, but it's not looking good.
Now, if you are able to get back on the lead lap here before we go back green, if you are able to get back on the lead lap at some point, do you think you can contend for even a top 10?
Maybe a top 15 if I'm lucky, but no, I don't think I'll be able to.
Well, here's to hoping for the best as we go back green. Noah, best of luck.
Thank you.
We'll get him back down there with the drivers he was talking with as we go back green flag racing here, Zach. Josh Conover leads us back green, and we'll settle back in. That red number 8, Brady Motes, is a lapped car.
Nice and easy, nice and smooth. Up off of 4, we stay green and clean for the first lap off the caution period. Cleva and Durheim battling it out for that second spot as Conover is going to try to work his gap back up and keep that advantage he has had just about all race long. He's most certainly got most laps led locked down for the event.
At the moment.
Right behind Durheim is Brian Jones to the inside of Brady Motes, the lap car to get clear and go up there and catch this top 3. Got a little difficulty doing so, though, as that top 3 can now throw a leg it over him.
You see lap sled on your screen on the ticker. Battle for second, though. Durheim gets by the 9 car. And now we'll follow up the 48 on the back straightaway. The 16 kind of regrouping here. He's a big threat early in the run. And I think when he gets to the lead early in the run, he can hold it. Oh, he nearly hits the 48. Slides right underneath Josh Conover. Pass made. Can he hold it? Loose.
Back down to the bottom. Conover trying to pull his lead back. Could we have our third technical lap leader of the day? Well, no, there's been more. Never mind. Never mind. Durheim leads it at the line over Conover, Kleba, Jones, and Tucker, your top 5.
What a view there on a turn 1. That was pretty cool. As these guys fan out across the banking. This is the first time we've really seen anybody truly unseat the 48, I feel like, with the pack behind. Earlier, yes, Arthur did pass him on a long run, but didn't quite sit the same as... Well, the 48 now falls back to third. I think that's the lowest he's been on a straight-up green flag run, not during a pit cycle.
I think you're right. Haven't really seen that 48 car fall this far back. We know Conover has had some very strong runs throughout these first few races. He's knocking on the door, or waiting to see when he can finally break through and get that win. Here comes Brian Jones off of turn number 4 into 3 now. He is working on the back bumper of that 48 car. Rolls through the middle lane as the top 2 roll the top side. And I think Conover's going to lose another spot here in the next couple laps. Maybe not. Brian Jones taps the wall off of 4. Tries to stay in it and hunt down Conover for third. Oh, everything's just starting to take shape.
I think
third.
I think a big thing with this series this year, and even in years beyond, will be how quickly can you flip the switch as Kleba goes down low. Battle for the race lead now side by side. Cars 16 and 9. Durheim up top, going to have the run off the corner. He will hang on to the lead for now, but for how long? But I think a big thing this season, Zach, is going to be how quickly can you flip the switch between long run saving and getting back to short run battling and using the tires here early, because, you know, Conover, I think, is still kind of in that long run mentality, saving his stuff, and that can still work out for him, Zach. But here right now, these guys are battling on more of a short run basis, the 16 of the 9. It might hurt them later, obviously we'll see, but at the moment, they are looking really, really good as they get these spots and now battle for the race lead.
Fighting and clawing for everything they can on the racetrack right now. Still side by side into 1 and 2. Durheim still with a big run up on the top side. Jones is starting to fade on the 48 of Conover. They're all just moving around, finding what works, sticking to it. You gotta love it. I mean, this type of racing is just what we love to see from the speed shot cams. Andrew, how many times have I said the speed shot cameras are my favorite camera angle?
I think at least once a week.
Well, I say it again. They are my favorite camera angle, and for good reason. They show a lot of the sense of speed that these cars, especially these cars, put off. They're just so beautiful.
That's a cool one right there. You know what, Zach? We haven't done it yet this season, but we've got it. We've got it in the can here. Shall we go to Whiplash Sim Cams, Sounds of the Sim?
Abso-freaking-lutely.
And that has been our very first Whiplash SimCam Sounds of the Sim here this season. It's been a little while. We haven't done that in a little bit, but
I think it's the first one of 2026.
I think so. Well, during that run, Dalton Tucker did move up into the 4th spot, passing Brian Jones and some others. Wayne Sparks is now into 6th. And Vincent Arthur is getting much closer here to the top 10. There he is, racing with Kyle Tubb off of turn number 4.
You say closer to the top 10, but he actually was in the 12th position, almost to the 11th spot, fell back down to the 13th position. Now he's trying to move himself back in to that closer to the top 10 range. He's led 1 lap tonight. He's had a strong run, the 24 car. He's had a stronger run than he has most recently. I think the last time we saw the 24 this close to the front was when he was leading laps late at Daytona and ended up getting taken out of contention in the waning laps of the race. Now he's finally got a chance to put the pedal to the metal and actually get that car back up to the front. So it's good to see him finally starting to work back off of that whole incident he had on the pit lane. I think we've got a lot of surprises up in the top 10 at the moment, though. Wayne Sparks has worked himself back up. See on board with Ryan Housden right now, trying to fight to catch that number 5 car. I see it a Brady Motes right in front of them, though, that is currently still quite a few laps down on the racetrack. It's Housden. See him kicking that wheel back to the right, chasing it down the racetrack and trying to find a way to pass that 5 car.
Battle here between Housden and Sparks. Housden will win that fight for now.
Ooh, sideways, a little bit.
That's just
Both
par
of
for the
them.
course here for Atlanta. Honestly, if you aren't sideways, at least at some point every lap, are you doing it right? I don't know. Battle though for 3rd. Here we go.
Down the inside.
Dalton Tucker looking good. He's up into the top 3 now, just past Dustin Kleba. At least trying to clear the
back
9.
into the 2nd spot.
Conover, that long run mentality. Like I said, it could still work out for him. I just feel like he wasn't able to flip the switch and get into a short run mentality and still be able to go long run later. So he was losing time there in the short and now starting to bring it back in the long. So as these laps tick off, he's going to come back up. But, you know, these tires are going to fall off for everybody, right? And so Durham already has a half second still on the 48 car. If he could just hang on to that, I mean, it's not a guarantee, I suppose. I'm trying to say that the 48 is going to pass him back before these pit stops. It's not a guarantee.
That top line momentum is working in favor, though, of Josh Conover. He gets a really good run off of turn 2, and he's close to within half a second of that 16 car, so the 48 trying to get his lead back. Maybe before pit stops even have the chance to start. I would think that Conover would want to potentially put himself back in that clean air and get himself in a better spot before we hit the green flag pit stops, and Tucker's trying to reel him in as well. There's a lot of different variables that could go into play right now amongst this top 3, really amongst the top 5, in my personal opinion, because there's a lot of varying strategies that we've seen. Honestly, now that I think about it, I've seen 5 different strategies out of 5 different cars. Tucker ran long. Conover pitted in a good spot. Durham pitted early, if I'm not mistaken.
He was mirroring the stops out of the 48 in that previous run.
Well, we've got a ways to go.
We are getting closer to that time where we will nominate our 4 drivers for the North American Racing League Driver of the Day vote. We're not there just yet. A little bit of time for this race to pan out a little bit more before we do so, but of course, get ready. If you're not on YouTube yet, get over to the YouTube platform and get a smart device nearby that can vote in today's Driver of the Day contest. You know, I talked with series admins before we got broadcasting this season about doing best in show, Zach, and I still want to. But these guys aren't running the alternate paint schemes nearly enough yet this season. They are just kind of running with one paint scheme and sticking to it. Drivers, this is my call to you. If you have some way to get more of the alternate paint schemes, let's see them.
You know, we saw a few different Jeff Gordon paint schemes in 2005, and, well,
Oh, pit stop there out of Brian Jones. So the pits have opened up, it seems, for these guys to run towards the end. I think what they're doing, Zach, is actually trying to split it in even parts as Reeder just makes it into the pit lane there in the background. Because this is early for Brian Jones, but I think what he's doing is getting himself, you know, fewer laps and older tires. And this actually could really pan out to the advantage of guys like Chase Durham and Dustin Kleba that are better on a short run than a long run. Because, well, you're not running as long on tires, you're not getting to where you're slower, right? You can abuse the tires a bit more.
Right, no, absolutely. I think there's a lot of different strategies that we can go into play. I'm sorry, I got so distracted by looking up 2005 paint schemes. I had to pull up J-Ski, and I pulled up quite a few 24 car paint schemes. I forgot that at Talladega of that year was when they ran the promotional stuff for Star Wars. It was, oh my goodness, it was Revenge of the Sith, if I'm not mistaken.
The best of the prequels.
Ooh.
I'm not afraid to say that. That is easily the best of the sequels. Phantom Menace is great, but Revenge of the Sith is easily the best of the sequels, and Attack of the Clones isn't even close. I said it.
Wars, though, that is.
I never got into the Clone Wars. I never got into the animated stuff in general.
Well, I've been looking at different paint schemes that could be run on a lot of these cars. There's some for the 24 car. It never truly occurred to me that the 48 of Jimmy Johnson only ever ran the Lowe's car in 2005.
Yep.
There were no different paint schemes. There was nothing else. I'm sure his crew had an easy time rewrapping that car every week.
Oh, that was easily during the days of paints. They were still painting the cars at Hendrick back in the day. Remember, they had the sponsorship from DuPont for all those years. Of course, DuPont became Axalta, but they do wrap the cars at Hendrick now. Regardless, back when, back in the height of the DuPont era with Jeff Gordon, those cars were painted for good reason. You have a vehicle painting company as your flagship sponsor for 20 years. You should be painting the race cars. So, yeah, they were still painting, and even back into like the 2010s, that's why those cars always looked so good. Even the Chase Elliott paint schemes for a long time. As Conover gets to the wall, oh my goodness, Zach! Did he lose a tire? He's pulling off. He's done.
So he just came over the radio, and Josh Conover said that he is making an emergency trip to the hospital.
No way.
Not sure what's going on.
I know exactly what it is. His wife is 39 weeks pregnant.
Oh.
Go Josh Conover. Go Josh Conover. That is what you like to see. And they're in South Jersey. They just got like 2 feet of snow today. Oh my goodness.
Hopefully they can make it. I just realized about the snow.
Yes. So very big, exciting news for the Conover family. But I think if we can get some rounds in the YouTube chat and even Facebook and Twitch if you're watching, safe trip to the Conover family. That's gonna be rough. That's a lot of snow.
As long as all good things are going on, congratulations are afoot. I know I don't smoke cigars, but to each their own. Hopefully all is well. Hopefully things are going in a smooth direction, and hopefully things end up happening as we expect them to with the miracle of life, as pit stops are underway.
Yep, there's the confirmation. His wife's water broke. That's awesome. That's awesome.
There it is! Congratulations to the happy parents!
Well, I mean, they're not out of the woods yet. That's awesome. Let's good thoughts and hope they get there safe. That's obviously the goal right now. As pit stops are cycling out.
Prayers for a good. I don't know how to say have a good birth. I don't know. I've never been on the receiving end or giving end of that before.
Oh my gosh.
But congratulations to the happy parents. Hopefully the birth goes well.
Well, back to the race. 60 laps to go. Kyle Tubb leading in that Bobby Hamilton Jr. number 32. Kenneth Cheney has stayed out so far. Cody Smith's on the racetrack as well. Brian Jones, the top of the drivers that have pitted, and oh boy, Zach with the 48 car pulling off. This race has completely changed.
It opens the door for quite a few more cars to step into play. I think Brian Jones being one of them. Justin Kleba, obviously. Chase Durheim in the 16, who currently, if I'm not mistaken, leads out of the cars that have pitted so far. Norman actually is leading of the lap down cars, but Durheim will pass that momentarily. Tucker would realistically be second, if I'm not mistaken, then. So that would promote Brian Jones to the 3rd spot. Kleba should be 4th, and then Housden, I want to say Housden should be 5th, but he's 6th in the running order at the moment, so I don't know.
Well, inside of 60 to go.
Just heard Tubb is pitting this time by.
Yeah, there's no way they can go much longer. So Tubb is in turn 1. There you see Durheim and Tucker going by. That is a battle for what will be about 5th position here shortly. Norman's going to inherit 4th. Wow, this race has completely changed.
Norman pitted, didn't he?
Yes, he has pitted.
Okay,
The only cars that have not yet pitted are Tubb and Cheney.
So
And
Norman
Tubb
would
has now pitted. Cheney is in as well.
race lead.
Who?
There's 14 into the box. Norman would inherit the race lead.
No. Brian Jones. That's what I was just saying a couple laps ago. Brian Jones has what will be the lead. Jones in 3rd, Kleba in 4th, Housden in 5th. They will become 1st, 2nd, and 3rd here in a moment. Housden, how about that? For the 13 car. He pitted, let's see, after Ronnie Norman, but before Chase Durheim and Dalton Tucker.
So, I have just come up with an interesting question that you and I probably won't have to worry about until next week. But, with how strong of a performance Conover had today, we were pretty much expecting him to run away with at least a top 3 finish. How do we work that into our power rankings going into next week? I know it's a metric if the caution's out, but
Dalton Tucker destroyed on the front straightaway.
No!
And the 3 cars out of the race.
Contact with Chase Durheim, I'm assuming.
He was racing with Norman and Durheim. They were battling already, remember? And they caught up to the 7 of Norman. Let's see it. This is the run down the back stretch. When they come around to the front stretch, things get hairy. So Norman kind of middle to high. Durheim goes around. And look at Tucker go low. That's always low percentage. And Durheim just gets into the 7th. Again, Zach, I don't know what it is about these guys tonight. You cannot run in the back of somebody in these race cars. You can't.
And that's a meatball flag for the 3, a meatball flag for the 84. What happened to Ackerman? Oh, that was Ackerman. No, that wasn't. That was Norman. What happened to Ackerman?
And Norman ends up with a bunch of damage, too. He's in the wall pretty, well, into the 3 pretty hard, then the wall pretty hard. Again, you cannot hit somebody in the rear on these big speedway tracks. I mean, a short track, maybe even a road course, that's one thing. You can't pick these guys' wheels up off the ground like that, and that is huge.
I don't know what it is.
I think Tucker,
generation of car.
I think the 3 is easily the best car, was the best car on the racetrack until this point.
I don't know what it is with the style of this race car, but just the noses and the rear ends are pitched in such a way that it's so easy for that nose to get scooped underneath that rear end of the race car. It just lifts the rear wheels off the ground, like you say, Andrew. It just makes it so tough for these guys to be bumper to bumper. I know that they still put the...
I mean, it's just the shape and the dimensions of the car. The front bumper is much more low profile. It's half the height of the bumpers we have now in the Cup Series, and even the rear bumper, the rear bumper is much higher, and it's not as... I mean, it's higher off the ground. The piece of metal that makes it up is not as tall as Housden wins the race off the pit lane. 4 tires all around, and Housden is the first out as 3 cars stay out, those being Cody Smith, Kyle Tubb, and Kenneth Cheney. And Zach, that is why those guys stayed out. They now have the race lead.
Vincent Arthur trying to do some solid recovery as well. And, now that I think about it too, the 2006, 2007 versions of the Gen 4, when they got the more low-profile front end, they got the big skew throughout the car. I know there's a skew a little bit on these cars as well, but they got more skewed closer to the car of tomorrow that they got. And then rear ends were about the same profile as they are now, but I think it was just more apparent in 2006, 2007 when those cars got a re-profile on the front nose, that they would just lift the rear end up and spin them around.
Yeah, it's just the dimensions of the race car, how it was literally built, the shape of it. So, yeah, I mean, it was like a snowplow would pick the rear bumper off the ground, and I think, again, as I said earlier, we've been spoiled these days with modern NASCAR stock cars. Being able to bump like that, you can't do that in these cars. But Zach, look at how many laps we have to go. It'll be 42 when we go back green. That's just outside of the fuel range. Are we going to see anybody get a little bit crazy and try to save?
Yes, absolutely.
I mean, you're about 5 laps or more, of course, with these caution laps. I'd say 7 even. About 7 laps away from making
this race. You're playing this race off of the long run because that's all we've had so far. I think if this race was a caution fest, you wouldn't necessarily need to play it off of short runs, but I think playing it off the long run, playing it in the fuel-saving strategy mindset is going to work in your favor. We're seeing the 43 down there having a few connection issues, but we got 4 lap cars on the bottom, the rest single file, ripping around 3 and 4. Here we go.
Green flag on the way, just over... I was wrong. 50 laps to go, not 40. 50 to go. I miscounted. We have plenty of laps. It's not that close for fuel. Green flag. This looks hairy.
Lap cars causing a stack up on the bottom, Andrew. This is going to make it tough for these guys up on the top side. Moats got clear quick. They were 3 wide.
Cleva.
Look at Cleva.
The 9 car sailing through. Sparks got loose. That checks the 9 up. Skinner up top as well.
Cars.
Border in the way down low, but he's trying to stay out of the way.
Arthur in the middle gets checked up. Can't quite make the move. And Cody Smith is out in front in the 42. He had a chance to go for the race win last week at Las Vegas. He ended up having to settle for the 2nd spot. I wonder if he's going to try to make a repeat of the run he had last week, but maybe 1 position higher. Cheney up to 2nd. Tubb in 3rd. Here comes Houston to the bottom to take it away.
Houston looking really good in that 15 car. Battle off the corner. This is for 3rd position. Brian Jones right there. Brady Moats in the 8 car, not on the lead lap. He is still 7 down. Ooh! Tubb! A little bit out of sorts there to turn 1. Here comes Jones on the inside. The 45 now taking position down on the inside lane. Anderson, he's laps down, actually. The 33, 1 lap down. So don't worry about him. Nearly a 2nd gap for Cody Smith, the race leader. He is trying to get away from Kenneth Cheney and company. There's Smith, there's Cheney. Decent gap so far for that 42 car as he tries to walk away with this. Obviously, still plenty of racing to go. I thought we were just outside the fuel window. I was mistaken. About 10 laps off. My math just wasn't quite right. I got a little too excited a little bit too early. So, these guys have a straight-up race here, Zach, and I think this really opens things up for pit strategy, of course, as we're actually seeing one in the pit lane. Jake Christenberry. Oh, dear. This does not seem scheduled. He's got some damage.
And he does. We saw him running pretty well early on.
Oh, there was an incident. This is down to turn 1. I think just getting the wall there on his own. Then here comes the 22. We'll keep that number in mind. Oh. Christenberry just got the wall. There you see Ham and Craig Smith down, or Craig Martin rather, down low.
Everyone getting out of the way relatively easily, too.
Let's see, from high above. Christenberry got loose. Ham got loose. He got tapped by Rochelle. It's a theme, but I will give Rochelle benefit of the doubt there. When a car is loose in front of you, it's a little bit harder. when you just have a run and hit somebody, that's when it's a little more egregious. So here is Rochelle's point of view. Yeah, that's a little harder to avoid in Rochelle's position. And then for the 22, he was on the inside of this, Craig Martin. And this is what happened for him off the corner. Just suddenly had a UPS package on the hood. Not ideal. Race leader Cody Smith about 0.8 of a second back to Kenneth Cheney as these guys work down the back straightaway. The top four all in line. Smith, Cheney, Housden, and Jones. Not the four cars you would expect to be leading a 2005 NASCAR Cup Series at Atlanta Motor Speedway. But here we are as Ronnie Norman's back on the racetrack. He is about to go, let's see, a third lap down when that 42 car gets there, Zach.
Gonna get there pretty quick. Very quick. Catching him right off of 2. 7 cars gonna hold. Norman's gonna say hi. Smith to the bottom. Well, ain't clear.
Now we are approaching 40 laps to go. Good battle for 5th here. Tubb, Kleba, and Arthur. Vincent Arthur, he's not done yet, Zach. Oh, watch out! Big heads-up move. 3 wide. Arthur takes it. 2 for 1. Wow.
How about that?
Zach, I feel like it's appropriate.
Yeah, no, I wholeheartedly agree.
I think that can qualify as a Murtis Mega Miss because that old group of cars missed what could have been a massive accident down into turn 3. And Arthur able to go from 7th right on through to 5th there, making it look easy getting by those 2 guys. And suddenly Vincent Arthur is back in the top 5. So big thank you to Murtis Esports joining us here for 2026, presenting today's Murtis Mega Miss. On that note, a big thank you to all of our partners. Obviously, Harpoon Design with the series, Clark Contracting as well. And a big shout out to our partners here at the channel, Whiplash Simcams, MXWraps.com, ATVO, Murtis Esports, CC's Business, and the North American Racing League. Brian Jones now has the 24 behind him on his relative, Zach. But he's got these 3 directly on his windshield. And again, not to beat a dead horse, but he's got the highest I rating in the field. So we know Jones should be towards the front of the field. Here he is in 4th, finally looking really, really good in that car. Can he get there? Imagine the 4 car numbers to win, the 4 cars to win the first 4 races of the season. The 4, the 04, the 4, and the 45. Wouldn't that be something?
A lot of 4s. I know you're a big fan of 4s.
I am a 4.
That is true. Don't sell yourself so short, though, man. I'm sure you're attending someone's...
Oh, Housden! He keeps it off the wall. Wow.
That was close.
That was a heck of a perspective there. So Housden has that misstep, falls back to 4th with Vincent Arthur and Dustin Kleba shortly behind. That now puts Brian Jones in the top 3, and he is putting pressure here on Kenneth Cheney. And Cheney, for what it's worth, has run down Cody Smith.
Closing in on that 42 car. Brian Jones right there in the coattails.
So check this out. Lap time comparison headed your way at about 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cody Smith, the race leader, top left. Kenneth Cheney, second place, top right. Bottom left is Brian Jones in third. Bottom right is Vincent Arthur in fifth. And you can see Arthur is faster. Cheney and Jones about even right now, both faster than Smith, the race leader. That was just last lap, though. How's this lap compare? About the same across the board. And Zach, if this was last week's race, we'd be going checkered this lap. It was 160 laps a week ago, 240 miles at Las Vegas. Tonight, going for 300 miles, 195 laps at Atlanta Motor Speedway, a little bit of a longer race. And Cody Smith would have won if this was a 160 lap race. It is not. And to that point again, that time Jones a little bit slower, Cheney a little faster. In fact, of these four, Cheney was fastest that time around, but not by much. Oh, watch out!
Sideways. Just barely gets into him right there. Brian Jones down to the bottom. Big send to the inside. Gets that quarter panel. Or at least gets to that quarter panel down the bottom.
By the way,
14 gets clear.
Arthur into fourth. Kleba and Housden now battling for fifth. Here they are. Motes has got his car fixed up, but he is still 7 laps down. In fact, 1 lap behind the next car that he'd be passing. That is Noah Blackwell in the 99. He's not done, Zach.
Still the inside, hanging tough.
And Jones has got it. Gets his nose ahead, right rears ahead. Can he slide up? The answer is yes. Position gained. Brian Jones to second.
I thought Cheney had a bigger run right there off the corner. He's going to dip back down to the inside. Oh, slides up. Gets clear. 45, Brian Jones. Well and out and away.
It's actually a great question in the YouTube chat. So the R's next to these guys' names and the O's. The R's and the O's, those are put there by the league. We do not dictate that. In fact, the graphics program we use just pulls the name as it is in the iRacing session. So that R next to these guys' names designates them as a rookie. So Cheney, Housden, Tubbs, Skinner, Order, Norman, they're all rookies this season, meaning they have not run a full season for points just yet in this series. The O's, I believe, indicates either they are team owners or that they're racing just for owners' points, not for drivers' points. So that I know it's some classification regarding owners' points. I'm not exactly sure on the very specifics there, but I know the R does designate these guys as rookies.
Housden, Jones, just called out. They were heading to the pit lane. Here we go. Pit stop's underway.
Jones to the box, or the lane at least. There's Housden to the pit lane.
Cody Smith will be responding. No black flags. So they all made it in. Nice and clean, nice and easy.
Oh, Cody Smith loose off the corner. I was starting to wonder if maybe Cheney would actually pit now that Jones had passed him. Try to get the leg up. Instead, it was Jones pitting, and now Cody Smith will follow in. That's going to bring Kyle Tubb as well on the 32. Oh, Smith had the rears locked up. Oh, there goes Tubb. And, oh, Rochelle missed the cone.
He's got a black flag.
That's
he has got a black flag.
Classic textbook commitment cone violation. Meanwhile, now the top two as they run are Cheney and Arthur. When do they pit? I mean, these guys have about 10 more laps they can run. They do not have to pit yet. In case there's a caution, I don't think it's a bad idea to keep racing.
We've seen how running long can really, really benefit these drivers. The strategy played into the favor for a lot of these guys that ran long. Kleba, one of them, he was able to really stretch it out and gain some solid ground on Conover.
You know what we amazingly have not yet looked at, Zach? And it's going to be important, I think, with these tires. We've not yet looked at the MX Traps weather conditions as Cheney gets the wall. And he's going to pit. That's not a bad move after doing that, but weather conditions, here they are, 66 in the air, 85 on track. It's not that hot. Oh, I wonder how it's going to influence these guys' decisions if they want to run long or if they want to pit early. That's interesting. A little bit of extra context there as we are inside of 30 to go. Kleba also has stayed out so far. The whole top 12, minus Chase Durheim, who has just pitted. There he is in his box. He has just made it in. And Cheney, it looks like, is on his out. There's Vincent Arthur. He comes in.
Looks like one other car has received a black flag. It looks like Border in the 43. Not sure what it might be for, but the focus remains on the 24 of Vincent Arthur. Makes it to his box nice and easy. Doesn't miss it. I'm still gonna roll with that one because it's funny.
Perhaps to you. I don't think it's a joking matter to him. But
I think the comedic effect has kind of come into play now, just because he's been able to work that back, especially with Conover having to head to the hospital. Hope everything's going well, by the way, with the happy parents. But Vincent Arthur out on the racetrack. Brian Jones and Dustin Kleba, they're fighting it out right now. Jones is just working to get his laps back at the moment. Kleba's still the race leader.
Yeah, Jones on new tires, no worries there. Kleba has not yet pitted. He's got about 7 more laps he can run, if he'd like. Maybe slightly longer. I'm curious by this move from Dustin Kleba. I wonder if he's trying to run a perfect stint after this, short run kind of style, and just run a perfect 20 laps or so to the end. Because he has had short run strength, not so much long run strength. Might be coming in this time though. He's on the bottom, and yes, he is. Skavnicki in as well. There's Matthew George coming into the pit lane. This leaves Cody Reeder on the racetrack as the new race leader over Kevin Baumler and Donald Kite. And Zach, going back to the Clark Contracting power rankings, we've been all about Donald Kite so far this season. This has not been a kind day to him. Look at the stats for him. Started back in 27th, has run as low as 31st. Currently third by virtue of this pit cycle. Frankly, Zach has not had a lot of speed.
No, sirree. I feel like Kite could have a little bit more speed based on the runs that we've seen out of this 21 car. I feel like he could be a little bit further up the road, but hey, there's still quite a bit of race left. We've got just over 20 laps to go. We're getting into our NRL driver of the day picks. We're not quite there yet, but we'll see some relative runs of speed.
There goes Arthur and Cheney. That might be the battle for the win here shortly. Who knows? Of the drivers who have pitted, of the drivers who have pitted, Jones is out ahead. Rochelle, by the way, did not take service. He ran through the pit lane, has not taken service. So I think he's still got to actually make a pit stop. Ryan Housden, Ryan Housden is chasing Brian Jones. Jones will have the eventual race lead here as things look. Housden second, Smith in third. That puts Arthur now in what will be 4th position if he can get it away here from Kenneth Cheney.
Working on it. Cheney pitted, like I was saying, at the right time after he tagged the wall. Lap car is a pick. There it is. What a move by the 24. Oh. That is classic style racing. You don't get to see much anymore. Using a lap car as a pick. That was beautiful work by Vincent Arthur.
Meanwhile,
Cody Smith.
Yeah, a pass straight up. Smith gets by Housden. Smith only has a 1-lap advantage over Brian Jones, and he's 2.4 seconds back. Zach, I'm going to be honest, I don't think he makes that up.
20 laps is a lot of racing for 1.7 seconds. That's about a
2.4
lap.
It's 2.4.
2.4. Oh, okay. That's a little bit more of a difference, especially if you're fighting side by side. Not saying it can't be done though. It's about What? 2/10 a lap.
Well, he's still got to get away from this 15 car of Housden, and behind Housden, not far back, is Vincent Arthur in the 24. I think this is the race for second at the moment. Smith, Housden, and Arthur. Although we still have not seen the final stop for the top 5 cars, as now we have seen it, or we are seeing it, for Cody Reeder in the 19. He finally is in. Kevin Baumler continues on. He is just about at the extent of what his fuel run can do.
Should see him come to the pit lane pretty soon.
Probably this time. He's already getting low.
Bottom. Yeah. Getting low, getting slow. He slides up into the middle groove. Well, maybe not. Still out on the racetrack. Tags the wall a tad. Getting caught by Tubb here, too. So that's going to let the 32 car get a lap back on the racetrack, staying high. As Tubb runs all the way down on the bottom, gets that lap back. There is the 88 of Ham into the pit lane. So all that's left is Senior, Kite, and Baumler, as Vincent Arthur has moved past Housden and Cody Smith. What?
And he moved by quick. I mentioned it was looking like he was going to be in the race for second with Smith and Housden. He's got a couple lap advantage over them. If anybody's going to run Brian Jones down, it's going to be Vincent Arthur. And the trek begins now.
1.8 seconds to that 45 car. The Arca West driver, I'm assuming, correct? Arca West? You said Vincent Arthur was competing in?
I believe there's some Arca Regional. I'm not sure. But I know he's been running some late models. I know he's running Hickory Motor Speedway, some Tri-County Motor Speedway. Regardless,
That would be Arca East.
just inside of 1.5 seconds. Well, those weren't in Arca cars.
Oh, right.
Regardless, 1.4 seconds the gap. He is making up time, but this is actually so it's counting to Jones, but at the line, the car ahead was Senior.
Half Senior now. There it is. There it is to Jones. 1.2 seconds the gap.
Yeah, the gap was always tracking to the 45. It just labeled somebody else there.
Right. There he is. Just had a camera shot. Border separates the two of them. Ham just came out of the pit lane, so no backwards tires.
Brian Jones gambled. I've just noticed this.
Huh?
That's a 2-tire stop.
Oh. That's why the gap's closing so quickly.
Huge mistake. That is a huge mistake. He's going to have to hold that 24
car off because we've got 13 laps to go. We haven't made our driver of the day picks yet either.
Well, no, I was waiting very intentionally for the pit cycle to get sorted out. It is that time, though. I don't want to wait. Vincent Arthur, we'll wait here a second. I think Arthur can run this 45 down. We're nearly to 10 laps to go. Within a second. I feel like this impending pass is going to be very significant context.
The lap cars are going to make it difficult. Border almost tagged the wall. 24 moves on by the 43. Ham is working to go catch the race leader and get his lap back, put himself on the lead lap. And could you imagine if we get a late race caution, it could throw caution to the wind. Don't say it, Zach. Oh, come on, it happened last week. You're the chaos bringer. That's your self-imposed title.
Under a half second.
2/10 per lap. That's what it's been. 10 laps to go at the stripe. 10 fingers off the flag man. 10 to go. One has to think how crazy of a race it's been for a guy like Vincent Arthur. Went a lap down after missing his box. Clawed his way back up to the front of the field.
I don't know that he ever went a lap down. We were surprised he was still on the lead lap. Gets the wall there, though. All right, he's not getting to the 45 yet. Well, everybody does, but he's not going to get the 45 yet. We'll go ahead and we'll do our nomination, Zach. We're inside of 10 to go. I've already typed in Vincent Arthur's name for you.
Oh, jeez. You're going to let me pick him this time, aren't you?
Whoever you got.
I'm going to rattle them off quick because we are losing time as they're fighting for the race lead. It's going to be Vincent Arthur and Cody Smith for me.
Battle for the race lead. We'll take just a beat here. This might be the moment. Vincent Arthur to the inside of Brian Jones, side by side for the race lead, inside of 10 to go at Atlanta Motor Speedway.
7 at the line, 7 laps to go. Arthur got there, couldn't get the pass done. This is what we saw earlier on, where the older tires were still able to hang on, but with left sides that old, I don't know how long Brian Jones can hang on to it. Up the racetrack, slides the 24, hangs on to it. Vincent Arthur stays in the throttle, keeps that car hanging tough on the low line. Brian Jones hangs on to the lead. We're coming back around, 6 laps to go.
All right, we're going to pull up position gain on the ticker for just a second here. 33 spots for Kenneth Chaney. 33.
Wow.
So I'm nominating Brian Jones for sure, and I'm nominating Kenneth Chaney. That's an easy one for me. Those two just feels right. So driver of the day vote.
Honorable mention.
Well, the vote is going live over on YouTube, so you can go vote now on YouTube these final 6 laps and driver interviews and, of course, our post-race formalities. But here we go, 6 laps to go. All eyes on these top 2.
I think an honorable mention would be for Wayne Sparks. He's up 23 spots into the 9th position. Skinner's up into the 8th position, so a lot of good runs out of a lot of good drivers.
There we go, he's got a run.
With the line, Andrew. Big run down the back straightaway. He's going to take another look to the inside. Big block by the 45. Inches him to the bottom. Runs them both up the racetrack.
Brian Jones knows he's on defense. Knows he's got worse tires. Vincent Arthur knows he's got the ability. Can the 45 hang on, or can Vincent Arthur put the 24 in victory lane?
5 laps to go, Andrew. It's official. We are within 5 laps to go of this race. And Vincent Arthur sideways again. He can't make it work on the bottom. Every single time he goes down there, he loses ground. It's now another reset, refocus. With 4 laps to go, he's 2/10 behind the 45 and dropping back ever so slightly. You said it. You thought the 2-tire call might have been an incorrect gamble, but now Vincent Arthur has caught him. He can't pass him.
That's the trouble these drivers have talked about earlier this season. Being able to catch somebody but not being able to pass, and that's just the trouble with this car. Arthur in the fence. He's going to lose a lot of time. That might be a nail in the coffin. I don't know if it's the nail in the coffin, but it's certainly a nail being driven. That's at least one tap of the hammer right there. 3 laps to go, this time by the flag stand for Brian Jones at Atlanta Motor Speedway, trying to put the Richard Petty number 45 in victory lane. Of course, it was Kyle Petty behind the wheel of that 45 back in 2005. And the 2000s, I feel like, for Kyle Petty were years to forget, certainly, for the driver of the 45. It was never really like he had a good day in that 45 car. 2 laps to go, though. Brian Jones has a chance. A great chance.
4/10 the gap. That's the split between the 24 and the 45. Now down to 3/10. Could we be in for another famous Atlanta photo finish? You never know. Vincent Arthur sideways off the corner. He loses a little bit of ground, gains it back down the straightaway. He's throwing it into the corner right here, trying to find any way, shape, or form that he can go and catch that 45 car. It's within 4/10 of a second. It's within 3/10 of a second. It's going to be white flag in the air. 1 to go, presented by Whiplash Simcams. Brian Jones is out in front. The gap is shrinking ever more. Within 3/10 of a second between the 24 and the 45. Down the back straightaway they go. Got a run, but I don't know if it's going to be close enough.
Vincent Arthur's got one more chance to do it down in turns 3 and 4, but Brian Jones, a full quarter second ahead off of turn number 4, is going to put the number 45 in victory lane. We have a new team winning on top of the NORA Retro Series. Brian Jones wins at Atlanta.
What a run there at the end between Brian Jones and Vincent Arthur. Gosh, you love to see it. That is some great racing that we saw out of those 2 drivers. White knuckle up on the wheel, elbows out, God, that was awesome.
A job well done, certainly, by driver 45. And Cody Smith will come and give a nod to Brian Jones, who's able to get it done 195 laps later. And it makes sense, Zach. You talk about Atlanta being a driver's track, being oh so difficult, especially in this car. And you know what? Yesterday it was the 45 winning in the NASCAR Cup Series. Tyler Reddick behind the wheel. Now it's the 45 of Brian Jones winning here. But my point is, the two 5K I rating drivers in this field, they finished first and second.
I'm in awe. Sitting here just taking it all in. That was some great racing out of those drivers. Absolutely blissful to watch.
I think Brian's trying to give it the old reverse burnout we saw on Sunday. Couldn't quite get it, but a worthy celebration nonetheless for Brian Jones at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Victorious, race number 4 of the season. We still have not seen a traditional big team go to victory lane. No Gibbs, no Hendrick, no Earnhardt, no Penske, no Roush, not even an Everham. Instead, Brian Jones gets it done in the Penty Enterprises. Did I say Penty? Petty. I don't know why I said Penty.
Penty, yeah,
of course, of course, it's the Petty Enterprises 45. We'll take a look back at your unofficial race results. And we will take a look. One moment to fire this up. This is a big, big win for Brian Jones. Again, we've been talking about it, putting the pressure on him. He is the highest I rating in the field. Now, that could have been gained from other cars on the sim. Regardless, he gets it done. Brian Jones, 17 laps led. Comes alive right when he needs to. Vincent Arthur, Kenneth Chaney, Cody Smith, and Dustin Kleba. Your top 5. Looks like a great finish there between Smith and Kleba, by the way, for 4th. Chaney kind of comes home quietly there in that 3rd spot. Ryan Housden, great run there in 6th. Chase Durheim, look at that. Hangs on to a top 10. Jared Skinner back in the top 10. Wayne Sparks, able to get it done. We put out the Who You Got post earlier today, and it was between Wayne Sparks and Vincent Arthur. Good to see them both in the top 10 here this evening. One in 2nd, the other in 9th, and Kyle Tubb grabs himself a top 10 as well.
Absolutely rolling outside the top 10, though. A lot of notable names, to be perfectly honest. Guys that we expected to be a little bit further up the running order. Matthew George, though, that's a really surprising name to see in 11th, to be perfectly honest, because he had not really been in the conversation too much throughout the day. He finishes 11th on the day. Donald Kite ends up 12th, and Brad Fulheim ends up 13th. John Skavnicki ends up rounding out a 14th place finish on the day. Great job for him. I know he was in the running a little bit in that midfield. Cody Reeder ends up 15th. Kevin Baumler ends up 16th in that 81 car, with Nick Ham getting back on the lead lap there at the end in the 17th position. Hunter Sr. ends up 18th, the first car 1 lap down. You saw him 3rd in line of those finishers there at the checkered flag, even though he was not 3rd on the racetrack. Cody Anderson ends up 19th, and then Kyle Rochelle rounds out your top 20 with 3 of those cars being 1 lap down.
And back in 31st this evening, 21st rather, Chance Durheim in the number 17. Just after California, we have not really seen him pick back up to where we've, come to expect him. He hasn't really come back alive big time yet, but certainly holding out hope that the 17 gets back up towards the front. John Border, Ronnie Norman, Noah Blackwell, their nights all kind of went sour at some point this evening, along with Brady Motes. We saw the early incident for him. Jake Christenberry out early, along with Dalton Tucker. Craig Martin, Josh Conover, of course, for a great reason there in Josh's case, and Bruce Ackerman out early as well.
Absolutely, and then just a few more cars left on the evening, Andrew, in this 36 car field. LJ Hernandez ends up 31st with Jacob Gladulich. That big old damage that we saw earlier on in the race, ends up 140 laps down. Then the rest of the field, 33rd through 36. You've got both the next 28 and the 0, both ending up in a lackluster situation, we'll say. Kane Hoy in that 35th position, and then Christopher Heights never even saw the green flag in that incident that we saw going into turn 3. Before coming to the green flag, they ended up adding a lap on the caution, well, not on the caution, on the parade lap to clear that incident out and away. But I feel bad for Heights, never even got to see that 2-car take the green flag.
There you go. Brian Jones gets it done at Atlanta Motor Speedway in fantastic fashion. It wasn't quite the close photo finish that Atlanta's known for, but Brian Jones, it was still a very compelling battle there to the flag. And for a couple of weeks now, I've taken notice of that I rating. I wonder, before we even get into anything else about the race, where do you have that high I rating from? Because that doesn't always tell the full picture. It could be from legends, late models, who knows. Why do you have the high I rating, but it took a little bit to get going here in the Gen 4 car?
Well, I don't even really race officials anymore, so I guess it's from back in the day when I was racing B Open and some ARCA and stuff like that. Maybe some Gen 4 Cup more recently, but yeah, I don't really get on the officials that much anymore.
Well, you show that you still got it here this evening, winning at Atlanta, and that was a really, really compelling battle there towards the end. Obviously, we thought we had the race figured out with Conover leading a bunch of laps, and you and Arthur were kind of lurking around trying to get back in position. What was the early going like, though, from your point of view?
Oh, we just had a bad fast expel machine out there, so just thanks to my guys over at Expel. Use code Atlantis20 at checkout, get 20% off. It was just a fun race. I kind of started a little bit back in the field, but it was like, you want to save tires on those long runs when we're trying to go that 39 laps to hit the fuel. It's really hard to hit the fuel, and then we had some short runs where it's just burn them up as fast as you can. And my strategy was just get on pit road, be the first person on pit road, and get that clean air, because in these cars, clean air is everything.
And I'm curious on a specific thing that Zach and I talked about. Early in the race, we had that early caution, lap 7 or something like that, and it set up for you guys to have a chance to pit if you wanted to. I feel like it's kind of 50-50 in those kinds of situations with all these tire sets we have, effectively unlimited. Do you want to get those tires early just to have them, or is it a track position thing, kind of heads up? What's your decision making like there as a driver in those kinds of situations?
Well, that first caution, I was kind of kicking myself for not getting the tires. It was like, I think it was like 6 or 7 laps on the tires, and I was thinking, it's Atlanta, it's old Atlanta, after 5 laps, the tires are done. But something's weird about this this tire model and this track, the combination. They didn't wear near as much as I thought they would. So it turned out track position was way more important than tires were. And you could see that. I took 2 tires there at the end, and I was able to kind of hold off Vincent, who took 4.
Yeah, we noticed the 2 tires, and I'm not going to lie, I called it the wrong move. Clearly, I was wrong. You were right. You had just enough there to hang on. But if that went 5 more laps to 200, for example, say we're at a track that is measured at 1.5 miles and not 1.54, would that have made a difference?
I want to think that it would have. I was talking to Vincent a second ago, and he said that he just burned his stuff up about 5 laps before he got to me, and once he got to me, he just had nothing. So it's really tough to say. I think that on this track, if we'd gone 5 more laps, I probably still would have won, just because of how Vincent got to me so fast and used so much tire to get to me.
There you go, Brian Jones victorious at Atlanta. Obviously, we've got another trip here later in the season, but a lot of racetracks left to go. What's your favorite that's on the calendar here this season? I know it's pretty much a NASCAR Cup Series calendar of the last 20 years, but what's your favorite?
I kind of like Michigan a lot. I like, I guess, Charlotte. Anywhere that, is a throttle dependent track where you got to modulate the throttle a lot to get it to turn in. Those are my favorite tracks for sure.
There you go, Brian Jones, winner at Atlanta Motor Speedway. Zach, that means we get to talk to the guy who he just beat out for the win. Brian, congratulations. Hopefully we're talking to you soon. Over to Vincent.
Thanks, guys.
Second place finisher on the night, and glad to see him finally having a good night here at Atlanta. Vincent Arthur, brings it home, that number 24 car in the second place position. Vincent, you gave it all you had there at the end. You almost had it. You had the nose in front a couple of times, but just barely missed out on the win tonight. Walk us through just exactly what was going through your head there and maybe what you could have done to try and take that lead away from the 45 car.
Yeah, I think initially once I fired off, I knew that waiting an extra 5 laps to pit before, before I got all my tires, just I knew I was going to have to haul the mail. So once I got back on track, I just gave it everything. Figure with 25 laps to go, my tires would hold on that long. And I felt like I was flying. I got all the way up to second, and then as I was running them down, I think I got probably less than a second, like right inside that 1 second behind him. And then I just felt my tires start to go off. First it was the fronts, and then when I got those under control, then the rear started really sliding. And dirty air. Just I thought I could play a little bit with it and get him free in some spots, but it ended up just kind of toying with my balance a little more than I thought it would. So yeah, just went a little hard a little too early. Didn't really have the tire when I got to him, and then he just did a good job defending. When I got inside of him, he put it on my door and took away all my side force there. So hats off to him. We battled adversity all night with the speeding penalty early, then almost getting trapped a lap down because of that. We caught a break when we needed it, and then I figured we'd be able to drive back up through traffic, but everybody runs the same speed for the first 20-25 laps. It's really hard to maneuver. And then after that, you only get 10-15 laps before you pit, so you really got to make some time there. And luckily we had some yellows fall our way, and the pit crew was great on pit road all night, and we were able to get back up just with a shot here at the end. And this is a racetrack I won at twice last year, and I feel like this was the race that I kind of thrive in, coming from behind and then closing the deal at the end. And I was a couple car lengths away from doing that again tonight, but I had a lot of fun. Hats off to Brian and them. It was a really good race, and after the past couple weeks that we've had, I'm glad to come home with the second place.
Well, you showed some great speed, and that's obviously been a big talking point as well. The last few weeks that you have had here in the series have just been abysmal for you. You were running good at Daytona, got taken out of contention there. You were running good at Auto Club, got taken out of contention there. You had connection issues last week. So it's great to see that you're able to finally have some things go in your direction. And I mean, what would be the takeaway for you going into the short tracks coming up? Do you think having a background in real racing, especially at these short tracks, is going to be an advantage for you? And do you think you're going to be able to keep this momentum rolling?
Well, the first step of getting the season back on track is just to get a good finish and then build off of that. So, a good finish is a top 10, and we ended up with a P2. So we got a really good step here, and we can keep building off of that. And we got Bristol next week, and I think Martinsville's coming up here in a couple weeks, and those are two tracks where maybe not so much Bristol. I've had a lot of success at Bristol, but haven't had a ton in this car. But Martinsville is a place where, me and Josh Conover, we've put on some really good shows there. So hopefully we can go back there and do it again this year. But yeah, the real life stuff, it definitely helps in the sim, and the sim really helps in the real life stuff. So going to those short tracks, I get to use my skills, and hopefully we get a couple more top 5 finishes coming up here soon, and maybe a win or two.
You're going to keep giving us nostalgia with the 24 and the 48 duking it out at the front of the field, but an amazing run out of you tonight, and really something that we were happily enjoying up in the booth. So congratulations on your second place finish, Vincent, and we're looking forward to seeing you going into next week at Bristol.
Thank you, guys. Yeah, I'll see you next week.
A very content Vincent Arthur on that second place finish, Andrew, and I'm sure you're ready and waiting and standing by with our third place finisher.
Yeah, Kenneth Chaney has made a lot of noise this season. I know it's his 2 teammates that have been victorious in the opening 3 rounds of the season, Kenneth, but you've been really, really good with them, maybe even showing more raw pace. So how can you close one of these races out and put yourself on top of the scoring pylon?
Man, I think having a good starting position would definitely help. I've been kind of on the back burner here the last 2 weeks, and then I kind of spun myself out there at auto clubs. So yeah, it's just really hard here in these cars racing in the dirty air to like make passes and work your way up the field. Like, yeah, it's just, I don't know.
And so, Vincent was just talking about kind of being locked in place, the opening 20, 25 laps of a run at a racetrack like this. And I'm sure that number is a little different for, maybe Fontana, maybe a little bit larger, longer at a short track, but kind of being locked in place, not being able to move when everybody has still got relatively fresh tires. And then like the last 30% of the run, you can actually get going if you've saved your stuff. So with that in mind, of course, we run 77% fuel here for all these crown jewel races. If we ran full fuel, do you think that would make a difference to actually let you guys pass a little more?
I mean, maybe, but at the same time, like, oh man, that's actually a good question, to be honest.
Well, theoretically, if you're getting to the point where the tires make a difference, but you can't run the full length in that zone, does that make sense?
Yeah, because I was gonna say I think people would just end up short pitting, and I think we'll still be like gridlocked for the most part, because like once people are like starting to get past and stuff, they're gonna want to short pit to get that track position back and that track time back. So I mean, I could definitely see it working though, a little bit maybe if the fuel runs were a little bit longer, for sure.
Hey, that's just a broadcaster doing some thinking here. I know that's a scary thought, but looking forward to these short tracks coming up, Bristol, Martinsville. How do you feel about these two races? This is going to be, I think, the first real test of what the field is made of this season.
Yeah, I mean, so far the field's been great. I mean, these have been some really long green flag runs here at these mile and a half tracks, these intermediate tracks. So I mean, I think the field can handle these short tracks here. I think it's just a matter of like giving people space and room to work and not run each other over. So, but I think it'll be a blast for sure. These next 2 weeks. I mean, it'll be tough for sure, but it should be a blast.
Hey, good to talk to you, Kenneth. Congratulations on a solid run. Finally finishing up, I think, closer to where you deserve, and hopefully we're talking to maybe a position or two higher very soon.
Yeah. Can I just give a thanks real quick to someone?
Absolutely, always.
Yeah, I just want to thank Country Senior for showing me this league, and this is a great community, obviously. And then I also just want to shout out GC Spider Network. Without them, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. So you should definitely check them out. And yeah, thank you.
A great night here for car 14. Kenneth Chaney gets it done, third place, and I think we'll be talking to him a lot more this season, Zach. I think Kenneth is definitely showing, like I said, I think he's got, honestly, more pace than his teammates, and they've got wins. So if they've got wins and he's got more pace, I think it makes sense that he should be able to find victory lane at least once this season. And looking at the season ahead, there's obviously a healthy variety of racetracks left to go. I will mention really quick, I've not forgotten about driver of the day. I was about to end the vote, and the vote is now tied. So I will give maybe a moment here. If we gotta do a runoff vote, we can. But I'll see if anybody wants to chime in and make a vote really quick that maybe hasn't yet between Brian Jones and Kenneth Chaney to force the tiebreaker, Zach. But looking ahead at the rest of the season, I know we talked earlier about just loving all the racetracks coming up, but is there one that stands out to you?
Martinsville. I don't even need to think about it. Martinsville. It was the first track I ever went to see a NASCAR race, and it always holds a special place in my heart. Not to mention with how involved you and I are, especially in the short track community. It feels right to go for Martinsville. It's just a fun track, and it's one that we really haven't gotten to cover here on Pit Stop TV as of lately. It's something that I'm really, really looking forward to.
I love Martinsville, real and sim. It's one of my favorite tracks just in general. I love going there for the Valley Star Credit Union 300 in September. And, well, Zach, we got a couple of votes over on YouTube, but they were each for Vincent Arthur or Cody Smith. So we still have not broken that tie between Brian Jones and Kenneth Chaney. We're still looking for a vote to break it. I will say if we are still tied at 10:48 Eastern, we're going to do a runoff vote quickly and break that tie, I think. But, yeah, these next two races are going to be formative for the series. Bristol, Martinsville, that's where these guys will find out what they're made of, because Bristol, obviously, we can get some tempers flaring, but then when you unload at Martinsville, you already got the tempers potentially flowing from Bristol the week prior. Now you're adding to it at the paperclip, and that can get out of hand. I don't think it will, honestly. I think, and I'll knock on wood, but I don't think these guys are that kind of league. I think we've seen these guys be fantastic these opening 4 races, and I think this was the way to get it done on 4 races, 4 tracks that are pretty spread out and can get the field spread out. So I think we're hitting the short tracks at the right time, where it's going to be compelling, but it's not going to be a mess. And I like that about this season. I'm looking forward to what this series has to offer in the weeks coming up. And it looks like, we are seconds away from 10:48, and that vote has not split. So I'll tell you what, I'm going to end it. And there it is, 10:48. I'm going to put that runoff vote up, Zach. In the meantime, I will let you run through what we've got coming up here at Pit Stop TV.
Well, we've got so much stuff coming up here on Pit Stop TV, rolling into the next few days, actually. We've got BRB Sundance Pro Series rolling into Phoenix for their penultimate race of the season. 2 races left to go. Top 3 in the standings still relatively close together, within about 10 points of a spread. Then we've got no double duty, but still a Thursday show coming up later in the week. That's going to be North American Racing League, going to Autodrome Hermanos Rodriguez. I'm really hoping I said that right. And then Monday, we're right back at it here with the NORA Retro Cup Series at Bristol Motor Speedway. So many great places to follow along. You've got pitstoptv.com, facebook.com/pitstoptv, instagram.com/pit_stop_TV, TikTok.com/pitstoptv1, twitch.tv/pit_stop_TV, youtube.com/pitstoptv1, and x.com/pitstoptv_. Hopefully gave enough time for that runoff vote to take place. And I see there's about 5 votes in there right now.
So we'll give this, I think, until about 10:52. So about 3 more minutes. Let you get a chance, share the link around, and make some votes. In that time, Zach, I'm going to give some context here. So Brian Jones, of course, did win the race here this evening, but he did so picking up 8 positions total from start to finish. Obviously, you go a little higher and lower sometimes than the positions you actually finish and start in. So he did get 17 laps led, did drop as low as 21st. Look over at Kenneth Cheney. He picked up 34 positions between start and end here at Atlanta. That's big. I guess 33 spots, whatever. 36th to 3rd. That is a big difference. That's literally the back of the field, dead last in the grid, 36th, up into the top 3 with a few laps led, to his credit as well. I feel like Jones certainly ran the better race. Obviously, he did win, but there is a case to be made for either one of these guys. I can respect a vote either way. I think Kenneth Cheney obviously worked his tail off to get that position by the end of the race, and that's hard to do in this kind of field.
That it is. It's a very, very difficult thing to do in this kind of a field, and he did it, and he did it well. It's beautiful to watch.
In the meantime, a big thank you goes out, of course, to our partners here at the channel, and of course the series partners, in this case, Harpoon Design, obviously giving us the opportunity to broadcast these races with the NORA Retro Cup Series. This has been so much fun here in 2026 already. We're only 4 races in out of 36. We've got a prelude to the dream in there at Eldora, and an all-star, I think, in there somewhere. So we've got a lot coming up for 2026 here with this series, and it's all thanks so far to Harpoon Design and Clark Contracting. This Power Rankings graphic, by the way, going to look completely different at Bristol next week. It's going to be completely jumbled. I don't think Senior is going to be anywhere near 85.8, probably maybe still high 70s, but I think it's going to come down a good bit and certainly completely change for next week. But a big thank you also goes out to Whiplash Simcams, MXWraps.com, ATVO, Murtis Esports, CC's Business, and the North American Racing League. And we are just a handful of seconds away from ending this Driver of the Day vote. Zach, I'm curious, if you could just pick to end it, who would you give the tiebreaker to?
Brian Jones.
Okay. Respectable. Well, It has hit 10:52, so I will go push the button. And Zach, I'm sorry to break it to you. It is not going to be Brian Jones winning driver of the day. I think either one of these guys easily could have, so it's fitting they had a runoff vote. Kenneth Chaney will grab today's driver of the day honors, and certainly that is a deserved award to driver 14. Thanks so much for joining us here this evening. Zach, any final thoughts here from Atlanta Motor Speedway?
I want to make it to Martinsville, baby. Please, oh please, oh please.
Fair enough. I'm excited. Very excited. Martinsville next week, of course, going to be, or not Martinsville, Bristol next week, going to be a lot of fun.
Bristol.
Here's the graphic again. That shows the Tennessee Mixing Bowl, the world's fastest half mile, there on March 2nd. Then we go to Martinsville the week after. A bunch of great racetracks coming up. But that will do it for us this evening from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Thanks so much for joining us here this evening. It's been a pleasure as always. We will catch you all on the far side, hopefully tomorrow night, for the BRB Sundance Pro Series at Phoenix Raceway. It's been a long time, actually, since we've broadcasted anything at Phoenix, so that's going to be exciting. Otherwise, we hope you join us very soon again for the NORA Retro Cup Series, Bristol next week, Martinsville, and then Texas. The next 3 races coming up for this series. Again, thanks so much for being here tonight. We'll see you all next time. Zelazny might have a run here. He pulls up. 2 laps to go at Auto Club Speedway. What a run this has been. 5 cars out front just dancing around the lead. Salas back to the bottom. Honeycutt stuck up top. Slide job out of Salas. Crossover out of Honeycutt.
23 should have a big run here. He does.
You see Salas starting to cover it up. He goes up the racetrack. Honeycutt's clear of them both. He shoves it up in front of the 23, gets himself loose. It'll be white flag this time by. Salas down low. Zelazny looking for a hole. Side by side, 3 wide, coffee in it. White flag is in the air. 1 lap to go. Brought to you by Whiplash Sim Cams. Who is going to win the Luke's Playhouse 200? Honeycutt controlling the race. Coffee in second. Tires are aging. Zelazny off the top rope. Got a little bit free. He's going to crash with lights. And yes, wall there. Who knows? Honeycutt, though, leading the race. Can Coffee get a run? He's going to send it. He hits him. Big bump and run. Coffee's gonna try and get away. Can Salas get there? Coffee's gonna crash. Salas is gonna crash. Watch Nick Lights here to the stripe. Salas is gonna do it with no front bumper.
Unbelievable.
Wow. There's the white flag from Barney the Flagman. 1 lap to go at Long Beach. White flag is out, brought to you by Whiplash Simcams.
Yeah, can really hold him off. He looked like he's started to gap Cantonio just ever so slightly. Got about half of a second. It's been hovering right around there. Oh, Cantonio really pushing. He's sideways out of turn number 1. But Rayleigh just keeping that car pointed in the right direction. Nice and smooth, able to keep it going. It's going to be tough. Antonio knows that there's not very many chances, even if he can get close enough to him to make a move. So we'll see as they come through 6 and 7, head toward turn 8 onto the backstretch.
Deeper in the field, nothing changing. Lap traffic ahead. It's Kevin Peak and Bradley Alvis right in front of our race leaders down East Seaside Way. And to turn number 9 for the final time. Lap traffic in the way, and Rayleigh goes for it on Peak. He sends it into turn 9. He knows he can't wait. He knows he can't give an opportunity to Kevin Cantonio. Cantonio's going to take it anyway. Ships it into the hairpin, and Rayleigh's going to get away. Thomas Rayleigh is going to be a race winner in the North American Racing League. A last lap bump and run wasn't enough. This man wins at Long Beach.
Wow, what a finish coming through that hairpin. I thought they were all going to wad it up. We had lap traffic in there, staying